Hi, if you can hear me, can you say hello in the chat so I know you're there? I have no idea if this is working or not. Hello? Can you all hear me? Oh, awesome. Hello. Hello, 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 everyone. Oh. Well, this is weird. We've never done this before. Oh my God. This is weird and cool and awesome. And I'm glad that you're all here with me. This is excellent. My God. Oh, hello from Israel. Wow. This is incredible. Why haven't I done this before? Let me just scroll back up here. So, right, before I start reading anything, I don't even know why I decided to do this today. Sometimes I just get things in my head and I just go, oh, I'm going to do a thing. Actually, broadly, that's how the YouTube channel started. I was just like, oh, I'm going to go and put myself on YouTube, and I did. And now I'm putting myself on a live stream, and here I am. So before we go any further, I'm not doing any card readings this evening. This is not what this is about. This is more just a kind of touching base with you all, because I've met a lot of you through personal readings, and that's cool. I really, really enjoy doing that. And I'm going to start doing the May readings in about 3 or 4 days or something like that. So they'll all get put up and, extended and stuff as well. But it was more just for you to be able to say hello, and for me to say hello to you and stuff, sort of find out where you're all from and all that kind of thing. Like if you've got specific questions about your situations, that's what personal readings for. And I know that my book's closed at the moment. I have been working on that. That's a thing. It's not oh yeah. I haven't forgotten about it. I just do need to rest occasionally as well. And I was working pretty much non-stop for 9 weeks without a break. So I've taken a couple of weeks off because, frankly, I was a bit fried. And I've got 5 kids and life stuff and things like that. Where is my moon? I'm a Leo moon as well. I'm actually Leo stellium. So there you go. Leo-y. Thank you for the Arabian Nights book. Do you know what? That has been so divisive. I don't even know what to say to that. I had actually a number of fairly verging on abusive emails from people about it. People have either loved it or hated it. And I'm not even going to lie, I've lost an awful lot of subscribers over it. And I was just like, well, if you can't really sort of put aside whatever, like, what I mean? I thought it was a nice thing. It's actually a book that's quite special to me, and the people that enjoyed it really, really enjoyed it, and that's why I continued it through to the end. So fuck them. Yeah, that was broadly what I thought as well. So yeah. I don't know. I think it was, as an exercise, it was really useful to see who was about purely for what they got out of the situation and not what, other people got out as well. And, it's quite telling, I think. So, I had planned pretty much just to read constantly, but I've been assured that my channel should not turn into a book club. So, which, I mean, fucking look at my fucking library, man, right? That's one wall of my library. There are more walls. I love books. I fucking love books, right? I really love books, and people who don't love books, I find odd. I don't trust them. In the absence of good role models as a child, I turned to books instead. So what ages are my 5 children? So my eldest is 21 in August. He is a Leo as well. And I have a 17-year-old and a 12-year-old and 2 7-year-olds, twins. What do I like reading? Fucking everything, right? Absolutely everything. Like on this wall here, I've got this wall that's just here. I've got the same number of books as is over there. That's all literature over there. And yes, it is alphabetized by author. And I've got classic literature and then modern literature across there. This one is my non-fiction wall here, and I'll do like a bit of non-fiction. So I've got an entire bookcase on kind of witchy and tarot books as well. So I like to read, and I keep buying books, and I don't really have time to read any at the moment, and that's kind of doing my head in. Right, let's see. Do I write? No, not really. Although I have done in the past. My twins are Libra, 2 little Libras. Yeah, so I don't know if any of you have caught what I've said before, but I was actually, since I was 16, I wanted to be a barrister. And I had a whole heap of life stuff, including children, to deal with for a while, but I still managed to go to university and do a degree in law. I found out I was pregnant with twins at the beginning. Peter Evans says hi, he's stuck at work. Hi, Peter. I found out I was pregnant with twins and gave birth to them 2 weeks into my final year. That was pretty intense. So I managed to graduate with a degree for that. And then I went back to uni to do a postgrad degree when the twins were a little bit older, 4 or something. Yeah, I went and studied international business law. But in the meantime, I did do writing for various like legal publications. The Lawyer magazine, which is like the trade magazine for lawyers. I had a bit of a spat with a barrister on there, which there were articles toing and froing about the bar that I wrote and stuff. In terms of stories and stuff, I haven't written much like that since I was a teen, I think. Yeah, pretty much. So, identical twin girls. Oh, cute. Cute. Yeah, my twins are awesome. They're actually awesome. All my kids are awesome, actually, to be fair. They're really impressive human beings. So anyway, I was going to be a barrister, and now after my brain injury, I've spoken about this with the Tauruses. I think I don't know who else has maybe seen those, but I got a brain injury after being assaulted, and I ended up with post-concussion disorder. So I was getting crippling migraines and stuff when I sat down to try and write my thesis, which was quite inconvenient. And so I ended up kind of bailing on that. And it was the universe stopping me and going, you were never supposed to be a barrister, stop it, go and do this instead. So here I am, in front of you here right now, engaging in this highly surreal and very entertaining, actually, experience. I love new things. I love experiencing new things. This is very new. Right, so I'm going to go back through this chat now, because there are so many things in here. Let me just quickly skim read. Oh, thank you, Chantel. My energy is pretty cool. Like, I enjoy my own energy sometimes, I gotta say. Right, if you have emailed me about private reading and I haven't got back to you yet, it's because I was resting, frankly, and sometimes dealing with emails. Like the last round of emails that I answered, it took me nearly 3 days, from 10 o'clock in the morning till 1 o'clock at night, just constantly emailing people back and scheduling stuff in. And that's why I've been a bit quiet, but I've been setting up a scheduler so you can literally book yourself in. You're not going to have to come to and froing with me. It's going to make a lot of it's just going to make it easier, I think, for me and also for you. So bear with me. It's not quite ready, but I mean, it's so fucking nearly damn ready. Really, really near it. Right. What's the one thing you hate being asked? Do you know what really wound me up? It happened a little while ago with somebody asking me when they were going to meet their twin flame. And I was like, why would you want one of those? Like, really? Don't, like, it's a phrase that gets bandied around an awful lot, like a term. And I think people don't really understand what it entails, because it's meeting somebody that you love with every single cell of your being, because they are literally the other half of your soul. But they are your mirror, and they will trigger the shit out of you and hurt you in ways that you never thought another person could. So I hate that question, because then I have to explain it to them. It's kind of become interchangeable with soulmate, and I don't really understand why. It's become fashionable, I think. I don't know. But let's have a look at this. All right. Hi, Heidi. Nice to see you. Lots of hellos. Book recommendations for developing your psychic gifts. There are lots of very good books out there. I think you have to find the thing that suits you. Like, I read an awful lot of Wicca. I spent maybe 3 years reading everything about Wicca that I could lay my hands on before I finally decided it wasn't for me. Like, there are bits of Wicca that I find absolutely objectionable. So I cast that by the wayside. And I am an eclectic witch, so I literally just take the things that speak to me, the things that I think I can do something with, and I do that. So it doesn't really matter what particular discipline it comes from, personally. And Wicca's a religion anyway. It's not really a spiritual movement as such. I've got this cool book. I'm going to show you this cool book. There's an awesome story that goes with how this book actually ended up dropping into my lap, because I knew about it for probably coming up a decade before it finally arrived in my hand. It is old and cool, and it's on astral projection. It's been sat on my bookcase for 10 years, I think, and I haven't read it yet, but it's been calling me like a siren recently, and I am going to read it. That's a cool thing. In terms of developing your psychic abilities, meditation, all day meditation, because it's about being still enough to notice the signs that are all around you all the time of the universe speaking to you. And most people miss them in our modern societies. It's just what happens. So be still and let your gifts kind of find you, because that's kind of how it works, I think. Certainly in my experience anyway. I don't do well with visualization. I really struggle with it. I think it's because I'm autistic, and apparently we have issues with actually visualizing in our imagination. But I do hear a lot, which is interesting, because I'm actually deaf as a post, believe it or not. Really quite deaf. So the fact that I hear stuff is a bit bizarre, but there we go. So yeah, I don't know if that answers your question in any kind of meaningful way, but wow, look at where you're all from. Norway, Tennessee, Argentina. Wow. This is incredible. Alabama, Texas, Indiana, Wisconsin, London, San Francisco. Wow. Dorset. Hello from Dorset. Knoxville, Tennessee. My house is pretty cool, I have to say. It is a really cool house. Like, this turret is pretty cool that I'm sat in at the moment as well. It looks quite impressive from the outside, even though I've only got this bottom bit. Like, there's an upstairs bit that you can access from the flat next door. It's massive, but it has to be massive because I've got lots of kids and a massive dog and cats and lizards, and it's basically like a farm in here, actually, to be honest. Live streams are just fun get-together times. Like, I'm seeing that. I like it. Like, Africa, hello, Ayanda. You stopped your class just to pop over and give some love. Brandy's Taurian Eye Tarot. Oh, thank you. I really appreciate that. That's amazing. Oh, Finland. Hello. Right. Let's get this. Trinity Spectra. I wish I had a library with so many books. I've just lived and breathed books since I was tiny, like really, actually tiny. And this is a lifetime of obsessively buying books, because they're not all in here either. I've got a massive bookcase in my bedroom. All my kids have got bookcases in their bedrooms as well. Just overflowing. Every time I move house, which isn't very often because it traumatizes me, frankly, the books are an issue. What do you feel the upcoming shift will be after the pandemic is over? That's a really interesting question. So the astrologers have all been predicting, hang on, I'm going to light my tab again. The astrologers have been predicting for a long time that 2020 was going to be big. There were going to be some massive shifts. And there's one astrologer that I watch, Bracha Goldsmith. And for 18 months, she's been talking about the fall of the patriarchy and all sorts of things. So they all kind of knew it was coming. So I kind of suspected it was coming. And to be honest, as it's happened, I've just been like, okay, this is it. This is here. And we'll just bed down and ride this out. I genuinely feel there's going to be a shift towards more... well, I'm just going to come out and say it, perhaps a more matriarchal society than we currently reside in. I think those things that have been squashed down and made to feel less important, I think will come to the fore. So people's personal happiness and stuff, like we literally live in societies that do not actually encourage our happiness. I think, it's all about status and it's all about success, and how you can't possibly be successful unless you are busy all the time. I'm a Capricorn rising, and I resonated with that for far longer than I should have done, frankly. I drove myself almost into the ground trying to achieve all the time by other people's measures. Like I said, this brain injury kind of... it was a really good way of getting me to shake up my priorities and see what's important. And I feel like I do see what's important now. So, I mean, it depends what corners of the internet you lurk around in as to what is actually going on at the moment. And I kind of, I dabble in and out of all different areas of the internet. And yeah. Let's just say I'm reserving judgment at this point, but I think towards the arse end of last year, all the readings had justice in, right? And I got a very strong sense that there was karmic debts being paid off and contracts being, finished. And I feel like it was all in preparation for this, because of this big consciousness shift that we were going to experience. Getting people to kind of lose the things that were... well, everything that's wrong with our society, really. Relationships that are wrong, all that kind of thing. So that we can kind of all ascend together. And that feeling has got stronger and stronger as the year's gone on. And in my personal readings, I was finding at the arse end of last year and the beginning of this year, there was a sense that I've completely lost my train of thought. It's gone. There's that brain injury at work. Give me a second, it might come back. Oh, that was it. I got a really strong sense, and this was back in January. This was before anything was happening. That there was going to be a point where we look back in the future and we would see that this time there was like a before this time and after this time. A bit like 9/11, if you are like everybody, like the world before 9/11 and the world after were two very different things. And it feels like it's the same sort of thing here, but in a more positive way, I think. And it's difficult to say that when you've got people dying. I mean, it's actually just kind of shitty thing to say, but I feel like there's something something big. Something big. Right, let's have a look. What is my name? Oh, it's Carrie. It didn't even occur to me that most of you wouldn't even know who I was. Yeah, Carrie. Like the Stephen King book, which I got lots of shit about when I was little. How did I get into card readings? Do you know what? Ever since I was little, I've just always been kind of drawn to the dark and the occulty things. And, I found out who Aleister Crowley was when I was like 9 or something like that. And I've just always had an interest in kind of like the hidden realms of things. So tarot was on my radar from a very early age. But interestingly, I only ever read for myself for a very long time. I haven't been reading for other people for very long at all, actually. Maybe 18 months, something like that. And that was ego. That was me just not believing that I was good enough. Like it was all right if I cocked up with my own readings because, right, frankly, it was just me. But the weight of responsibility that I felt at even the thought of reading for someone else, was just my ego kicked in and was just like, no, you can't do that. No, don't do that. So there you go. See this? Oh, bless you, Elmo Amazing 1991. Hello, Lauren. You've been following me since I started. Like the channel grew really fast, like really, really fast. And I kind of wasn't surprised by it because I kind of thought it would, but I was still kind of gobsmacked by it. And I was like, there was one point over, I think it was over Christmas, actually. I was sat there with my kids and I was like, kids, look at this. And I got the app for the kind of like the back end of YouTube that you get when you're running a channel. And it would say how many subscribers I've got. And I'd just refresh the page and it'd have gone up by 10, 15. And I'd refresh it again. And I'd like literally do that like 10 times in 10 seconds. And it'd have gone up by like 200 subscribers. And I was just like, this is mad. Why is anybody even slightly interested in anything that I have to say? Abusive, yes, actually verging on abusive. But luckily, I'm, I'm all chill in that, so it's fine. Right. Wheat from chaff needed to happen. That's kind of how I put it in my head because I was like, why would they even care? Just listen to something else. Oh, this is the thing. I actually got a message a couple of nights ago. Somebody said, oh, you're killing me with these Arabian Nights notifications. I'm like, it's literally one notification a day to say the book is, the next part of the book is up. If you don't like it, don't watch it. I'd understand if I had entirely replaced all of my tarot readings with this, but I had not. It was in addition to, and didn't really understand. Somebody actually took me to task and said that I was a piece of shit for reading such a racist book. And I was like, oh, okay. Interesting take. But there we are. People are petty. They are petty, yeah. How do I find my sun, moon, and rising sign without having my time of birth? It's difficult. It's difficult. Your ascendant sign, particularly, I think the increments are like hourly. So the difference between hourly or 2 hourly. So the difference between you being born at 8 o'clock at night and midnight is actually, it will make a huge difference to your ascendant sign. And I think your moon sign has a similar. I think the gap is the gap. What is it? The increments are larger, but it's still difficult. Do I have any favourite sign during my readings? Well, I'm a Leo, and so obviously I'm going to stick with the stereotype of the Leos and say I really like Leo energy, but it's because it's familiar to me and it's very comfortable and I just get it, right? And fire signs generally, I just get. They're really, really easy for me to get. The readings that I've been doing for Taurus for the last few months have been really healing for me, very cathartic, actually. And the Taurians will know this because we've spoken about it at length. But like, certain experiences when I was younger made me swerve Taurian energy very, very hard indeed. And it was actually instinctive, because generally I would meet this person, my hackles would go up everywhere, and I'd be like, oh, this person's a Taurus, I fucking know it. And they were, right? And that was possibly my issue rather than theirs, to be honest. I don't think they were necessarily presenting as, awful Tauruses or anything. There was just that recognition, and it was enough to kind of scare me away and immediately think the worst of them, which is very disingenuous. But the readings that I've been doing for Taurus have kind of healed that for me. And now I'm quite excited to do the Taurus readings at the moment, especially because I kind of feel like I've been holding their hands with them while they've been going through whatever they've been going through in the last few months. Not as any kind of spiritual leader, but just as a friend, just be like, it's all right, let's go this way, and that's actually had a tremendous impact on my life. Like, even just this morning, I had a one-to-one over a video call with a shaman, my first ever shamanic experience. And the Taurus in question was part of what I dealt with this morning. And Heidi, if you're still watching, like I don't know if any of you follow me on Instagram, but I posted a friend of mine's spread that she created with the cards that I had pulled for it, and the Taurus had come up in that there, and it was. Oh, sometimes tarot gives me shivers. I'm not even going to lie. Even though I've been reading for years and years and years, I get goosebumps and shivers, and I shout, and I'm like, oh! So, yeah. Would you share what changes you're going through reading the Arabian Nights again to so many? Marissa. Do you know what? It's been really interesting, because I've really, really loved that book when I was a kid. And now I've got older, I can see how some people could have found it problematic in places, definitely. But it's folk tales, and there are British folk tales, there are Scandinavian folk tales, there are all sorts of folk tales which to our more civilized eyes are problematic. So, and I'm not excusing them, I'm not, but I think that you have to see them through the era that they were written, and that translation was Victorian, so certainly riddled with pervasive Victorian ideas and expressions and such like. I think I took the worst of them out. Certainly I tried anyway. But there was an aspect of connecting with my younger self which was interesting. I liked it a lot, actually. And I enjoy reading anyway, aloud. Since I had kids, I enjoy reading aloud. I've been reading The Great Glass Elevator to the twins, and they love it because I put on little stupid voices for all the characters, and I'm just generally very theatric about it. So it was a lot more muted for Arabian Nights, obviously, but I do genuinely enjoy reading aloud. And the reason that I think I explained, it had to be out of copyright, otherwise YouTube would just take it straight down. But the structure of the story just seemed perfect for it. Obviously, other people didn't agree, but you cannot please everyone. My channel, my content. Yeah, I kind of broadly thought that as well. Like if you don't like it, fuck off. Like I've really felt like I've been calling in my tribe, and a lot of I think everybody's doing that at the moment, and that's why lots of relationships are ending and new people are coming in. It's like we're all calling in our tribe, and I'm lucky enough to have this platform where I can call in a tribe from all over the world, and you're all here, and I cannot tell you how magical it all feels. It genuinely does. It's awesome. And if my reading a book, if people getting a notification that I'm reading a book once a day is enough to upset them, then they're not meant to be here. They're not meant to be part of my tribe. So I bid them well, wish them no ill will or anything like that. Just let them go. People with no imagination hate books. Yeah, like I don't trust people who hate books. I mean, it's weird, right? It's really weird. I should be a book club with tarot readings. Do you know what? I'd be totally up for that. I was just actually thinking this evening, because obviously the people that have loved the books have really, really loved the books, and they are the reason why I carried on reading the story. I think if nobody had commented and nobody had made any kind of nice noises, I might have just let it die off. But because it seemed genuinely to be being enjoyed by lots of people, I was thinking maybe I might just start up another channel and I'll just fucking read books on there, like copyright-free books. You know, all the Sherlock Holmes books are copyright-free. I could literally read you the whole of that, and I've got the entire collection in there. I don't know, maybe. Or I don't trust bookless houses. No, I find it a bit weird. I have about twice as many books. Want me to ship some to me? Like, fucking send me books, right? Just, yeah, 100%. If you've got books you don't want, send them to me. I will give them a good home. Yeah. Good. Books are hard to get in Ohio. Nicole, is that true? What the fuck? Oh, I couldn't live in Ohio. Like, no. Yeah. So, we don't also be a book club. The Schumacher. Is that you, Ashley? Is that Ashley Schumacher? Yeah. Well, I might just start a fucking book club channel, right? We can all just pile over there and read cool books. Denise has the great works of literature leatherbound. Nice. I've got a few of those as well. Awesome. Right. Get into those. Would I do my own tarot deck? That's a really interesting question. I'm not particularly artistic, and this is a thing that's kind of grieved me a lot over my entire life, because I felt like I'm a person who has a great deal of creativity and literally no fucking skill, which is really sad. Really, really makes me sad. But then as I got older, I thought that maybe actually my creativity expresses itself in the way that I live my existence and the way that I raise my children, the way that I interact with people and all that kind of thing. So then I stopped giving myself a hard time about it. I've actually got a friend. She's the girlfriend of a really good friend of mine, actually, who has been asked to illustrate a tarot deck, and she is an incredible artist. And she actually got in touch and was like, oh, I hear you do tarot. Can you help me out with some meanings of things? And I've been shit and I absolutely haven't responded. Well, I did respond initially, but then I haven't actually got back to her. But I mean, if I found someone who was really, really, whose art style I really gelled with, then I think I could have a lot of fun with the symbolism. If I could get somebody else to actually draw it, then I would consider it. But, you know, there are a shitload of really, really, really good decks out there. I'm just going to get them all because I love them. Like, I'm going to end up with a tarot deck collection that's going to rival my book collection at some point. Hello from South Africa. Kanyisa Majumbozi, hello. Eliza Empress, touching base while I'm impatiently wit. No, I don't know what that means. If you want to rewrite it so I can understand it, that would be awesome. What's a barrister for us Americans? I think in America you have just lawyers, right? Everybody's just a lawyer. In the UK, our advocates are split into two. So you have solicitors and you have barristers. And originally, solicitors had very limited rights of audience, so they could only appear in like the magistrates' court, really. And the barristers were the advocates. They were the ones who went to court and did, took the court cases. So essentially the way it worked was, broadly, the solicitors would do all the donkey work, and then they would hand it to the barristers, who would then take it to court and run the case in court. I think it's a British thing and maybe a colonies thing. So I think that they have the same sort of stuff in Australia and maybe parts of Africa. I'm not sure. I just realised my laptop's not even plugged in. I better do that. But that was how it was initially. Anyway, in the last, probably in the last 10 years, solicitors have been able to apply for higher rights of audience. There we go. So they can actually go in. And what's happening is the legal profession is fusing so that it would look more like the American system, where everybody is a lawyer, essentially. But the barristers are kind of fighting this because it's quite an old system in place. And when you train to be a barrister, you have to join one of the Inns of Court. I'm a member of in a temple, which also means that I have the right to be married in Temple Church if ever I felt like it, by the way, which was in the Da Vinci Code. It's kind of cool. But yeah, they go back 1,000 years, and you have to go and have so many meals at your Inn of Court, because it's all about hobnobbing and stuff like that. It's actually incredibly elitist and all that sort of thing. So, but yeah, anyway. Yeah, how I got started along my tarot path. So it had been on my periphery, for a long time. This is Heidi. I'm replying to, by the way. And I kind of dabbled with it a little bit, but not very much. And then, okay, so my cousin who lives in Australia, he doesn't live in Australia at all. He lives in New Zealand. He randomly sent me a photo of a tattoo he'd had done. And this is going back about 6 years, something like that. And he was like, do you recognize it? And I looked at it and it was kind of dinging off in my head like something. I was like, oh, it looks a little bit like. And he was like, it's the strength card from a tarot deck. And I went, fuck. And I was actually really, really mortified that something that had used to be, that had been at some point quite important to me, I just managed to forget. And I was like, how have I forgotten that? And I just kind of filled my head full of legal stuff. And yeah, and I was actually completely wounded by the fact that I'd forgotten about it. So I went riffling around and I found my old tarot deck, and I was like, right, I have to learn everything now about tarot, because I just took a very Capricorn-esque, it's my ascendant sign, kind of approach to it. And yeah, just ground at it for several years, actually, and just read everything I could put my fucking hands on. And then I joined a group, spiritual development group, 18 months ago, something like that, simply because one of the sessions in this like 10-session course was on tarot. And I was like, I need to get my confidence up some way, and I don't know how to do it. And so I did that, and then I read for other people, and actually it was all right. And apparently I was all right at it as well. So that was good. And I'd actually only started the channel as a way of practicing reading for other people. And it just became its own thing, actually, is the truth. Is there any more to it than that? I don't think so. That is literally it. Like, I just kind of bounded with it. But I literally did read everything I could possibly lay my hands on. And I used to pull 3 cards for the day in the morning, and then I would, at the end of the day, map onto the cards what had happened over the day to try and build connections that way. It was quite accurate, and I was like, this is quite impressive. It's cool. And but after my brain injury, I fell into quite a dark hole for quite a long time. I won't bore you with the details of it, but basically I ended up using tarot as a tool for helping me work out what was important and what wasn't, because I was spending a lot of time worrying about the things that weren't important, but I had no way of discerning the difference. Me and the kids. So I started kind of putting my trust in the cards little by little. Like when they were saying, you're worrying too much about this, don't worry about this thing, concentrate on this instead. And the trust built because the cards were right. And they've got an incredible ability to cut through the shit, you know, that is in our heads most of the time. And that is one of the reasons why I decided it was important to read for other people, because I felt I could help them cut through the shit in the same way that the cards had helped me cut through the shit. So that's broadly, that's how it happened. And it just gained momentum, really. That's the thing. I do love Leos. I'm sorry. I particularly love Leo women, especially. Like, they're a different breed. Like, Leo men can be a little bit tedious sometimes, just a little bit. And I speak as the mother of a Leo, so, you know, it's a thing. Till they grow up and they get a bit more, you know, mature and evolved. To be honest, my son's been like, he's an old soul, so he was never tedious. But I have known some who were a bit tedious. Perfect Libra twins balance each other out and always have a sounding board with each other when decisions come up. That's absolutely what it is. They are spot on. My favourite sign is Taurus. One of my favourite signs. One of my favourite signs. Oh my god. Fuck. Like, the chat's just updated. Now I'm lost again. Right, hang on. Let me scroll back up here. Oh shit, man. I actually thought I was getting to the end of the questions there, but it's just that the chat hadn't updated. Fuck, I'm sorry. Right. Oh, sorry, bear with me. Fuck my life, man. I'm nearly there. I'm sure I must be nearly there. Bear with me. Fucking hell. I'm not nearly there. I should have made several cups of coffee, I think. Oh, maybe. Okay, right. Ian Collins, hi from West Lancashire. Do you think that the ringing sounds that people have experienced over the last few years are in some way aligning us with the current changes that are happening at present? Right, I'm going to fess up and say I have absolutely no idea. Right, but I've been suffering with this, and not just ringing sounds, but like a roaring. That's the only way I can really describe it. And I thought it was just me because, like I've said before, like, I am quite deaf. And so I thought it was just my ears playing up, to be honest. And then I was in a group on Facebook and people were talking about this thing. And I was like, shit, that's what I'm suffering with as well. And actually, it was plaguing me the other day while I was doing one of the signs mid-month readings. I can't remember whose it was. And but like, I was trying to concentrate on what I was doing, but this in my ears. And I was like, what is that? There's something in it. I think there's great power in sound, and I think, like, I kind of subscribe to the notion. I'm a bit of a Graham Hancock fan, and I subscribe to this notion that we are a species who have amnesia about their history, and sound was very important. So it seems from the evidence that is being presented, sound was very important to our previous incarnation, whatever it was. So I think that there's something is going on. And it certainly seems to be increasing. Anecdotally from my experience, but also from what I'm seeing in other light worker groups and stuff like that. It's like light worker groups, shadow worker groups, the works. And there's a thing. I don't know what it is. I can't tell you what it is. I'm not even going to pretend to know what it is, but I am having issues with it also myself. In the weirdest times as well. There's no rhyme nor reason to it. It's just sort of happening. Should I, Anna Shepherd, should I give more emphasis to your Sagittarius readings as I have my rising and moon signs in Sag, or is my sun sign always more weighted in terms of focus? That entirely, it's one of those things that changes from person to person. Like I've said a couple of times, I was actually more of a Capricorn right up until I was about 36, I think, with kind of Leonine tendencies more than anything else. But I literally drove myself into the ground, and that's a very Capricorn thing to do. Leo's a little less inclined to do that. And because my sun and my moon are the same, my frame of reference isn't great, but I think it's worth watching all of them and seeing which ones are resonating with you better. But it can vary depending on, you know, the time of life that you're experiencing at the moment as well. Like, I don't think there's any one like the sun sign takes precedence, right? Everybody knows what the sun sign is. But when I first did my birth chart and I started looking at it, like the revelations, it was just like a domino effect, like over and over and over, and like, fucking hell, I learned so much about myself. Then I realized, because I always thought I was a bit of a shit Leo, because I'm not I'm not really one for, you know, doing the kind of stereotypical Leo kind of strutting about and all that sort of thing. But I think that's just because the Capricorn ascendant kind of takes that edge off for me. So I'm a little less demanding of attention. In fact, I generally hate attention. I can't believe I'm on a live stream on YouTube right now saying that, but that is actually true. It was a big leap into the abyss for me putting myself on YouTube in the first place, because I'm actually a raging introvert, and I always just thought that meant I was a really shit Leo. But apparently introverted Leos are a thing. So yeah, here I am. Hello. My son's father was also a Leo. He died back in 2005. So there were the three of us at one point, all Leos, all very different Leos. He was your stereotypical Leo, but my son is a Leo with a Scorpio ascendant, so he's a little bit more muted and restrained. And like I said, I'm Capricorn ascendant, so I am also muted and restrained. Watch them, see if it resonates. If it resonates, then keep doing it, because it doesn't necessarily have to be one over the other either. You know, watch them both, and they can be feeding into different parts of your, you know, existence to give you a whole complete picture that might be more informative overall than prioritizing one over the other, I think. Right. Oh. I love Scorpios until they try to kill me, Raffaella. Do you know what? I absolutely adore Scorpios, particularly Scorpio men. I am toxically attracted to Scorpio men, and it's just always awful for me. It really is. Like, but they're just so hypnotic and just mysterious, and I love that. But then they do things and they break my heart, and it makes me very sad. So like, doesn't stop me loving them though, does it? Oh, eagle spirit, yes. Stellium does mean that. Oh no, it's having 3 or 4 or more planets in the same sign. So I've got like 4 Leo placements, but I also have like 4 planets in the 8th house, which apparently makes my Scorpio side really strong, and probably why I'm completely obsessed with death and dark things and all that sort of thing. That was a revelation when I read that in my birth chart, I have to say. Taurus have had a shit year so far, and I brought comfort and healing. Oh, that completely validates like me, well, not me, but like my decision to get on YouTube in the first place. And it makes all the worry that I had about it just disappear. Was the thing. Am I into numerology? Yeah, kind of. It's another one of those things that I came across when I was a kid, and I was like, oh, that's cool. I was a pretty nerdy kid, to be fair, and I always had my head in a book about something. So I've got like pub quizzes I'm awesome at, because I've just got this ridiculous kind of trivia in my head about, like, I know a little bit about almost everything, I think. But I get like obsessively interested in stuff. That's probably the autistic thing as well. So when I find something that's interesting, I tend to kind of dive down rabbit holes with them, and numerology is one of those things. Yeah. I'm not a numerologist, not even going to make any kind of pretense about that, but numbers are important, and let us not forget that, you know, maths is the language of the universe. It's literally what the universe is written in, and I wish I understood it better, for sure. But I pay attention to numbers. Big attention, yeah. Steve, no, I'm definitely not Wiccan. Absolutely not Wiccan. No. I'm not a big fan of religions, and like I said, I spent about 3 years reading everything I could put my hands on about Wicca, and decided that it wasn't for me. Like, but I think it's important to educate yourself on stuff before you decide it's not for you. So I read everything that I could find about it, and then decided it wasn't really my sort of thing. Hello, Scott. My favorite tarot card's the Death card. Hands down, it's the Death card. And interestingly enough, the Taurosophy Association did, I'm sure they did a survey of something like 40,000 tarot readers and asked them all what their favorite tarot card was. And 97% of them said the Death card was the first one that they looked at in any deck when deciding whether to buy it, and it was their favorite card. So I'm kind of running with the flock there on that one, but it's just everything that it represents. Like, I'm so happy when I see the Death card, and it's not because I'm a goth. It's it's because it's hugely transformational, and I'm kind of all about that. 4 planets in the 8th house. I'm all about transforming everything. So I get excited when I see that, because I can't think of anything worse than being stuck in a rut. And when the Death card comes along, it means that if you are in a rut, you're getting out of it really, really soon. I gave a 3 a few. Did I do a bit of shouting in your personal reading, actually? When I get excited, when cards come out, and I'm like, whoa. Yeah, I do. I get really excited about it, definitely. Or Aries, aka God. How about just being honest and listen to me instead of trying to kill me slowly? I don't know what that means. You might want to explain. How many fur babies do I have, Catherine? And what are their names? So there's Silas. I'm sure you've all seen Silas, and he's an absolute fucking angel. Like, I cannot praise that animal highly enough. And he chose me, interestingly. When I went to go and pick a puppy, he picked me. And I was just like, I turned to my husband, as he was at the time, and I went, this one? And he went, well, let's go. And it was literally as we walked in as well. He was like, why don't we go and sit down and see them all? And I went, no, it's this one. He's picked me. So it's this one. And we ended up going and sitting down, and it was that one. So he came home with me. And yeah, he's like my shadow. He's literally everywhere that I am. He's not allowed upstairs, though, because he's got American Giant Shepherd. So I'm kind of really wary about his hips. Making him go up and downstairs and stuff would be really, really bad for his hips, and I don't want to don't want that. So he's downstairs, and I guarantee he's at the foot of the stairs with his chin on it, being sad because I'm up here and he's not there. So there's Silas, yeah, and he is 100% my best friend. Just brilliant dog. Couldn't ask for a better family dog at all. He's huge, but he's soft as glass. He's got no aggression in anywhere. And I've got 2 cats, Jax and Yin. Jax is like 10 years old now, I think, something like that. Yin's just like 18 months or something, and she's pretty cool. She's more like a squirrel than a cat, though, to be fair. It's just bonkers. I'm very emotionally needy, so that's interesting. Then I've got a lizard as well. I've got a Savannah monitor lizard that's like this big. She's not fluffy at all, and actually she just fucking hates everyone, but she's kind of cool to look at. She looks like a little dragon. But if you've ever seen those videos of monitor lizards, like big Komodo dragons eating monkeys, like that's how she eats rats and chicks as well. So it's really impressive to watch. She's cool. She's got a forked tongue like a snake as well. That's been awesome. Eagle spirit, can I explain the dark night of the soul? As a concept, dark night of the soul is when we fall into that place that sometimes it's about realizing that our behavior, more often than not, it's about realizing that our behavior has been suboptimal and kind of learning to take responsibility for that. That's difficult sometimes. Other times I feel like it's kind of when you've had shitty treatment at the hands of someone else and you kind of cast into a dark hole that you kind of need to get yourself out of by yourself. I kind of feel like we've all had them. You know, when you feel completely isolated, completely alone, stuck with the contents of your own head, perhaps your own misdemeanors of the past, something like that. Yeah, I don't know. That would be my take on it. I'm sure other people would add other stuff to that, but I think we all know it when we go through it, certainly. Why do all tarot queens dress like a witch? Well, I would reject the premise of your question there, because I don't think that there's one set way that a witch dresses. Unless you're talking about like cartoon witches. I wear black because I really fucking like wearing black. Like, it's my favorite thing to wear. And I think it's the thing that I look best in. And for 20 years, I dyed my hair black. And so and I was a goth, right? I really like goth music. I like the goth aesthetic. You know, I kind of tick all the boxes for gothiness. And the red has only been around for like 3 years, but I like it because it's a very marked transition from who I was before to who I am now. So I stick with the red, but I still like wearing black. I still like goth aesthetics. I've got big ass goth boots. I don't know, maybe dressing like a witch, or, you know, just wearing a lot of black, or, you know, big boots and stuff like that. Maybe there's something about the people that like that kind of aesthetic who are also kind of drawn to things that are darker, things that are occult, things that are hidden. And that is the proper meaning of occult. It's not like scary Satanism. It's, you know, scary Satanism shit, stuff like that. It is just, it means hidden. So I don't know. And I certainly wouldn't dream to speak for other tarot queens. I've never been called a tarot queen before, but I actually kind of like it. Any advice for staying objective if reading one's own cards? David Lanier. It's a really interesting question. And I have been guilty of interpreting cards in a way that gave me hope. Even when, you know, now looking at those cards, I would go then, no. but that was very early on, I think. I think over time, I don't know, actually, like, my cards roast the shit out of me all the time. Like, they proper call me out on my bullshit. And I think I just have to trust that they're right. And, you know, with any kind of divination, right, there are lots of different ways that you can interpret things, and you have to go with, for me, I find once you find the right thing, there's kind of like an internal tuning fork where you can hear the truth of it. And it's about separating your intuition from everything else, from the things that, you know, your hopes and your dreams and your desires and all that kind of stuff, which actually is often ego driven more than anything else. And so kind of meditation would help with that. All right. Being able to recognize your intuition when it's speaking. And that's what tarot is. You know, like, tarot is the symbolism, but when you go to a tarot reader, the reason that all tarot readers are different is because you're not paying for their ability to pick a card and tell you what it means from a database of meanings. It's about them bringing their life experiences to the table. It's about what the symbolism means to them. It's about the connections that they make in their brain from the life experiences that they have. And it's no mistake or coincidence that the people that tend to come to me are the people that have fairly complex issues that are rooted in, you know, childhood and stuff like that. Because I don't really deal with, I'm not really interested in love readings. I'm more interested in what's going on with you. And I think because I've spent a long time kind of pulling myself apart and using the tarot to do it as a tool of self-discovery, like, that's how I read, right? But there are other tarot readers who are exceptionally gifted at telling you, you know, who is going to walk into your life in the next, you know, 10 days or whatever. So learning which is your intuition and what is ego is probably the difference. And with that, meditation is the thing. Wayne Peak, the basic storyline is very dark. A king killing a new bride every day. We're back to Arabian Nights. Yeah, it is. And it was my favorite book when I was like 7. So that probably tells you all you need to know about my literary interests. Anyway, Kindra, do I have much water in my chart? No, I don't. My Venus is in Cancer, which surprised me when I found it out, but it explained a lot. And I've got a couple of one Scorpio placement, but I think Scorpio is a strong influence on my birth chart because of the amount of planets I've got in the eighth house. I think if I understand that correctly, I believe that's why it is. Leo and Scorpio are the two strongest presenting signs, I guess. What is it? Us Taurus are really hard to read, I've been told, Denise. I haven't found you hard at all. Like, not at all. Like, I know I've done multiple readings for you, but it's been more about trying to clarify the message more than anything else. Or I just felt like I needed to do another video. But I don't know, it seemed quite straightforward to me what's been going on with you. And that sense that I've had that, as a collective, Taurus were needed by the rest of the signs has been overwhelmingly strong, hugely strong. So that's helped, I think, help me understand where Taurus is coming from. Can I explain the waning moon and why it's used by some witches? So the moon phases, because the moon is a funny thing, right? I'm not entirely sure it's a real thing. I'm just going to throw that out there. I'm probably not going to explain that, but the different phases of the moon affect life on Earth, right? During full moons, A&E departments, which is, you know, I've forgotten what you call them in America, but you know, accident and emergency, they have more admissions during a full moon than at any other time of the month, right? It's a well-known thing with the medical profession that there are more accidents that occur during that time than at any other. Obviously, the ocean is affected by the moon. That's why we have the tides and stuff like that. And it's given to be strong feminine energy because women's menstrual cycles are tied to the lunar calendar rather than, you know, any other calendar that exists. So the reason that witches use the moon is because it's this connection to the dark feminine energy of the moon that helps release, but also, you know, witches will set intentions with the new moon when it's dark and release things with the full moon, you know, as it comes along, because everything moves in cycles. You know, broadly the way that it works. So if you let's see, I'm trying to think of an example. If there's a particular spell, you know, that you want to do, or is a particular intention that you want to set for, you know, what comes up, you know, what you want to manifest in the coming month, you would use the new moon energy to do that. If you have got things that you need to release, and everybody has things that they need to release all the time, then the full moon is a really good energy to use to do that. And the phases in between, you know, assist in that, essentially. I bet Mr. Rothschild doesn't approve of this. I'm not very interested in what Mr. Rothschild approves of, to be honest. Oh, hello, Sagittarian Holiday. There you are. Ladies and gentlemen, my best friend has entered the chat. My human best friend, anyway. Now then. Roald Dahl is amazing. Roald Dahl is amazing, yeah. Matilda's an awesome story. Have I read a book called Jean's Keys? No, I haven't. But I'll look it up because I love book recommendations, definitely. I think you should read more books. Like guys, are we going to do this? So we're just going to set up a book reading channel, because like I'm all for that if that's what you want. If it stops people getting pissed off, then that's awesome. And I love books. I'll fucking read to you all day long. Like, are any of my kids into mysticism? Right. So my middle daughter is a Pisces, and like she's a complete space cadet. Like I think she is naturally quite gifted in that regard. She's so creative. She just kind of shimmers around being a Pisces about things. My youngest daughter, one of the twins, is a total empath. Like that's frighteningly so, actually. She's kind of shocked me a couple of times with the things that she's come out with. I'm like, woo. And she's been doing that. She and my son have obviously that kind of twin bond, and she could be at the other side of the house and I'd hear like him kicking off about something somewhere, and I'd be like, what's wrong with your brother? And she'd be like, oh, he's hit his head. Like, it really hurts. It's just here, you know. And I'd be like, whoa. So yes, and my eldest daughter has gone from being completely oblivious to everything all the time to suddenly in January she just leveled up to full witch. And I don't even know how it happened, but she's just suddenly tuned into something really strong. And she's Sagittarius as well, and she's epic. But yeah, she is now just like, and it happened overnight, and I was completely broadsided by it, but very welcoming, so that's cool. The lads, not so much so. My eldest son is a Gemini moon, so he's quite analytical about everything and quite skeptical about everything as well. So the lasses, yes. The boys, no. Brothers Grimm. Oh, I've got the complete collection of the Brothers Grimm and Hans Christian Andersen and Lewis Carroll. they're all in the same edition. Absolutely fantastic. My identical twin girls are non-verbal and autistic. I would love to connect to their spirit guides. Yeah, man. Like, my kids are all autistic as well, but not non-verbal. But I do have, they go non-verbal sometimes with particular stimulus. So, like, it's hard. And kudos to you, because I know exactly how hard it is. And I think it should be perfectly possible for you to connect to their spirit guides if you meditate on it. I'm quite certain. Steve, you have no kids, do you? I have loads of kids. Yeah. No hate here. Good. Hi, April. Good to see you. Oh, there's lots of votes for book club here. I really, really like that. Nicole Johnson, that advice you've given to Carly is that's really good advice. That's really, really good advice. Actually, my youngest daughter is the one who's most interested in the tarot, and her favorite deck is the Deviant Moon. She is her mother's daughter by, like, yeah, man. I'm seeing more votes for this opening another channel, man. Fuck it. Yeah, all right. Let's do that. Have I got a fave crystal? No, Andy Round. I haven't. I've got them about. Probably my favorite one is this. Is just this. It's a piece of selenite, which is bought from a friend of mine, because she sells all sorts of interesting things. I really love crystals, but I've not really delved into it as much as I should, I guess. But I like this because I like having something to fiddle with when I'm doing readings, and apparently it helps with your psychic abilities and all that sort of thing. So I was like, oh, I'll get that. That's cool. But actually, if I get to my table and for any reason it's disappeared, and it does sometimes, I end up having to get something else to fiddle with instead, because I really, really like this. So I feel like there's probably something in it that's useful to me. Lara, reading the book has created a stronger energy connection between you and us. Like, I think so too. And that was kind of the point of it. That was why I wanted to do it in the first place. And I was sad that's been rejected by some people, but you know, that's actually their loss, I think. So I'm kind of easy about it. Oh crap, I pressed the wrong thing. What are my thoughts on Dolores Cannon? Right, so I've only just come across Dolores Cannon recently, and I really haven't read any of her stuff. I've seen her a few of her YouTube videos where she's been talking at conventions and stuff like that. So I'm going to say jury's out on Dolores Cannon because I don't know enough about her. But I did watch a couple of her presentations at some UFO conference. I think it was just actually only about a month ago. She has some interesting ideas. I'll get back to you when I've read some of her stuff. Elmo, wondering how long it will take for the need to have a post office box. I have no idea. I never give away books. I have a hard time even returning books to the library. Oh, fuck me. I mean, same. Like, I've actually still got a book from the mobile library from when I lived in the Yorkshire Dales because I loved it so much. I couldn't bear to let go of it. And it was back in the day. We're going back about 20 years. So I told them I'd lost it and paid for it to be replaced because it was not the sort of book that you could get just like from Waterstones. So yeah, I get it. I understand. Kim, hello Kim. Have I considered merchandise with the Scorched Earth Tarot logo? Do you know what? Like I've unlocked the ability to have a Teespring shop now. But like I said, I've got no fucking creative bone in my body. Well, I do, but it's not expressing itself in any kind of artistic way. my Piscean daughter has come up with a wicked design for something. So I mean, at some point, like that might well happen. But do you know what? I have quite a hard time keeping on top of my shit as it is. Like kids, all the animals, self-employed, YouTube, Vimeo. Like I need to clone myself is what I need to do. You fuckers, if I cloned myself, I'd take over the fucking world. I don't even doubt it. So yeah, there you go. Would I do a shadow reading for Taurus? Oh, hello, Rosalinda. Yeah, no, this is something that I've been thinking about doing quite a lot, actually. Disto Pain. I will see if I can get Rita to hop on. Is that you, Chris? That's awesome. That's a couple of my witch friends. That's cool as shit. Yes, I'm thinking about doing shadow readings as a more regular thing, but I'm kind of, it's finding time as much as anything else. So book club channel. I want to marry Ellen. Behave, veterans for organic medicines. Like really. Oh. But yeah, like this book club channel is gonna fucking happen, isn't it? That's awesome. Dolores Cannon is a Freemason and a witch. Okay, well, I'll read some more stuff about it and see if I agree with your assessment of the situation. Wait. Ashley, you've been pondering on making your own deck for ages. Super afraid of not doing the symbolism justice. No, fuck that. Like, like, don't get stuck in a trap of feeling like do the symbolism that's important to you. Like, because when it gets into the hands of a tarot reader, they're going to interpret it in their way anyway. So, you know, if you want to do it, just do it. Like, actually just do it. Like, because somebody will buy it. I know, at least I would buy it. And I'm sure other people will. Like, 100% get it done. Definitely. When I read, am I tuning into higher self, guide, spirit, tribe? Yes. Like when I first started to, I wasn't, but it was part of my self-discovery. You know, I was talking about this tool, tarot as a tool for self-discovery. I really had to work to get back into touch with my intuition because somewhere along the line I'd got separated from it. So that was a process and that took some time. But with the meditation and stuff that I'm always banging on that everybody needs to do, I have met my spirit guides. I now know what it feels like to me when they are present, and the signs that they give me when I say something that's right, they're like, way awesome. I get this fucking awful full body goosebumps that start from my ankles. And there was one reading I was doing, a personal reading for a woman in America somewhere. I can't quite remember what it was. And before the session, she had prayed for all of her spirit guides to come and be with me in here. And my God, it was just a non-stop, like 2 hours of just constant goosebumps and kind of pats and all this kind of and it turned out that her spirit guides was someone who passed over who was a Leo, and I was like, I can fucking tell, so insistent, and honestly. Any favorite tarot reader? Oh, do you know what? There are so many gifted tarot readers on YouTube that are really incredible ones. There's there's a chap that I watch. Quite a lot of them I watch, even if they don't resonate with me, just because they're like, I don't know, they're like family, I guess, or something. It's the weirdest sensation. So Raphael from Radiant Reality, I really rate him. He's cool. He's really cool. I like his energy a lot. He's a Leo ascendant, as he likes to tell everybody at the beginning of every Leo video that he does. So I really like him. San Tarot, she is incredible. That's quite esoteric, that stuff. But I find that it speaks to me exactly on the right level. Like, I love her. Absolutely love her. Who else? House of Oshun. I love Lulu from House of Oshun. Her and her little bell, like she's just hysterical. Like I would love to go and have a reading from her because she's just so awesome. Who else? I watched quite a few, to be fair. And in fact, like when I was in my dark hole that I was talking about earlier, like I didn't even know that tarot reading on YouTube was a thing. And I randomly, like the next up video to something that I was watching was a Leo video. And I was like, you cannot read YouTube, like you cannot read tarot on YouTube, and B, you cannot read for the collective. And then she literally sat there, this woman, whoever she was, and over the course of an hour, literally told my story. And I was in I was a state at that point. I was like crying my eyes out and everything. And I was like, holy shit, I was completely wrong. This is totally a thing. This is definitely a thing. Yeah, and there were quite a few that I watched initially because I was struck by how the correlation between the cards that I was pulling and the cards that they were pulling, like it wasn't logical that they were all just copying each other. And the fact that I was pulling the same cards, I was like, no, there's definitely something in this. I can't think of any others off the top of my head, but they are really cool. I really, really like them. You'd purchase a tarot deck of mine. Awesome. All right. Well, I'll put it into the to be done at some point. Do you have any clues for a gobsmacked to child trafficking? Don't really understand that question. But it's something I've been reading a lot about recently. You recently show a book you bought on the occult, which features some very dark characters, in particular Aleister Crowley. No to practice Satanism. I don't believe you practice such things. Can you, D? I don't know where that question was going. Just because characters are dark, it doesn't rob them of esoteric validity, in my opinion. And Aleister Crowley is a very divisive character, I tend to find, for people who are not familiar with his work. Satanism as a thing, right? So the Church of Satan in America, I think, is actually fucking leading the way in terms of humanitarian attitudes to people, because they don't actually believe in Satan. That's not what it is. It's an archetype. But they are very much about taking responsibility for yourself and not abdicating your morality to anything outside of yourself. There are other instances, other examples of Satanism, and if you kind of, I don't know, if you spend any time looking at the deep state cabal stuff, then that's all dark as shit, but it's not the same. I don't practice Satanism, and but I do think Aleister Crowley has a lot to offer the world in terms of his teaching. Right. So, what sort of law did I specialize in? International business law. What does it mean when it says I'm Capricorn in Sun and Ascending? So your natal chart is comprised of, or depending on what you look at, it can be anywhere from like 11 to 13 or 14 different placements. And you get zodiac signs in each of those kind of planetary placements. So, and they all affect different parts of you as a whole. So your sun is what you are. Your ascendant sign is how you show up in the world. It's how you present. It's how other people perceive you, right? So as a Capricorn ascendant myself, people meet me, I give off an air of efficiency. I like things to be done efficiently, to be honest. I work really, really hard. I'm pretty driven, you know, and pretty goal oriented, right? But that's my Capricorn ascendant. Like the other Leo bits of me are other things, but that's what other people see when they meet me, and it'll be the same for you. But how you are viewed and who you are largely one and the same. That's good. It's good alignment. Do I ever use the Crowley deck? I literally have got it just there, but I don't. I haven't read enough about it to use it yet. But I have got a book on it as well. I'm quite excited to use it because I've heard it's really profound. You do not want to move to England. Trust me, they're all leftist liberals who hate freedom. Yes, that's right. Happy 420. Happy 420 to you too. Right. You would make a good teacher. I'm giving some thought to putting together a tarot course. I'm thinking about setting it up. Actually, this is a really good time to talk about them. I don't know how far down this list of questions I am, but since you're all here, 150 of you, I've had a stream, a veritable succession of emails from people recently asking me to set up a Patreon. All right, and I was like, okay. Because they want to support me in a more meaningful sense on a monthly basis. Now, because I'm Capricorn and, you know, I like to work myself into the ground, I've been thinking about what I could do to provide consideration for that, to use legal speak, right? What I could give back in return for that sort of thing. And one of the things that I had been thinking about was doing like a tarot teaching thing, right? So I do some videos, put them up on Vimeo for people who want to just buy them and study them by themselves and stuff, but kind of set up like a tarot circle, which would be like a Zoom conference call or something, maybe once or twice a month, something like that, where you could watch the videos and like see what I've got to say about that, and then actually talk to people, you know, set it at a group of 5 or something like that, who could then discuss it, because I find that there's a lot of value in discussing other people's interpretation of it, because you get to see how different everybody sees the same symbol, how differently, right? And I feel like it gives you confidence in the fact that it's okay that you don't see it the same way as other people. But just, you know, just like a chatting shit about tarot and how you see things and asking questions and stuff like that. Is that something that people might be interested in? Because I'm happy to put that together if it is. But kind of like the whole Patreon thing's kind of thrown me a little bit, because I'm conscious about conserving my energy, and I don't want to fall into the trap of throwing myself into a dark hole of committing to things that actually I don't have the time to do. But this is something that I could find the time to do. So you have to let me know if that's something that you're interested in. That would be something that I would put in there. Ratfink, I hope that's not a cigarette. It totally is a cigarette. Like, I smoke too much. It's true. But like, I am a kickboxing instructor as well, so I am quite fit. Although after not being in the gym for a month, I'm a lot less fit than I was a month ago. Did your stay-at-home orders get extended? Yeah. Sorry, Cindy. Did your stay-at-home orders get extended? Yeah, another 3 weeks. But honestly, I think it's going to be August before they start letting people out again. Salem, Massachusetts. Gillian Brown. Right, you've got a tarot conference at the end of July that me and 2 of my witch friends were going to come to. Like, I literally booked an Airbnb in Salem, and we were so excited. We were going to come over because I turned 40 in August. And I was like, this is going to be my 40th birthday present to myself. We were going to go to the tarot conference over the weekend. I have a few days before and after to go, you know, explore Salem and see all the witchy shit. And now I don't even know if it's going to happen. Like, the tarot conference hasn't been cancelled yet. But we're kind of watching to see. I hadn't booked the flights yet, but I was like this close to doing it. I really, really wanted to come to Salem as a birthday present to myself. Like, wounded. Yeah, that tattoo sounding like a very bright hello from the universe telling you to look over here. That's exactly what it was. Exactly what it was. Can you recommend the best tarot books for shadow work or reads? Do you know what? I do not have a single book that references shadow work. This is something that I came to entirely by accident, kind of sideways. It's not referenced. I've got a ton, absolute ton of tarot books here. Not one of them ever mentioned it. This was something, I can't even, it was on a tarot site. And there was like, do this test and see what kind of tarot reader that you are. Right? And it was a bit like 25 questions or something like that. And I was like, oh, this is quite interesting. I'll do this. And it said at the end, you are a shadow work tarot reader. And I was like, what the fuck is shadow work? And I kind of was like, you know, I'm quite interested in dark things. So obviously it was probably something to do with that. But then I read it and I was like, oh, that is really interesting. But I had to find all the resources for that online. And there is quite a lot of stuff online about it. And then I bought loads of books on the shadow as well to kind of really get my teeth into what that was about. But I do a lot of shadow work myself anyway. And I tend to find it's the intent that you go at it with rather than, you know, instruction that yields the best results. So at least that's what I found anyway. And I'm quite a freestyle reader, so I don't use set spreads very often at all. Like, I'll do them occasionally, but mostly I like to have a conversation with the cards, and I find spreads a bit too limiting for that. So I'll say, right, you know, I'm ready to do some shadow work. What is it that I need to be looking at? And I'll pull 3 cards because I like threes and I like multiples of threes, right? That's about as spready as I get. And I'll pull the cards and they'll come up and I'll go, okay, well, that's interesting. What does that mean? And I'll pull some clarifiers on that. And then I'll go, okay. So, and I'm just constantly asking questions and the cards are answering. And before I know it, I've got like 30 cards on the table and a really clear idea about what's going on. And like, this is what happened to me a couple of days ago. This is why I booked the session with the shaman, actually, because what came out in that shadow reading, I think it was last week, actually, kind of knocked me sideways a little bit. It was something that I didn't realize was an issue. Made perfect sense once the cards had told me that that was the issue, but I needed a bit of extra help in kind of dealing with that. And that's what I got from the shaman this morning anyway, which is fucking awesome. And it was immediately after that I was like, I'm going to do a fucking live stream on YouTube. Right. It was good. How are you feeling about your role now? Shelley Quaid, how are you feeling about your role now as it's evolved to the level that it has? I'm still not entirely sure what level it is and what I'm doing, if I'm honest. Like, without wanting to sound like I'm just kind of flailing around in the dark. Like, I was kind of nudged to set up the YouTube channel, which is what I did. Just as I was nudged to buy the Llewellyn deck, which is the one that I've used most often. It was my spirit guide who went, fucking buy that. And I was like, oh, I haven't got enough money, I can't do it. And then the next week I saw it again and I buy that. And I was like, right, fuck it, I'm going to buy it. And I bought it and I did some readings with it. And I was like really, really connected to this deck. And I was like, that's awesome. And then I kind of got the nudge that I should set up the YouTube channel. And I was like, all right. So I did that. And I just kind of respond to nudges. But I'm still not sure exactly what it is that I'm doing. I hope, you know, the intent that I set before I do any reading is to bring through a message that is helpful, accurate, and clear. And I hope that's what I do. And I do feel it's time to grow now, but I still haven't quite worked out the edges of that, like what that means exactly. Sorry if that sounds vague, but that's kind of the inside of my head about this all at the moment. Like, I really enjoy what I'm doing, and the number of people who've commented and got in touch to tell me that I am making a difference to them is incredible. Like, it's humbling, and I'm so pleased to be able to do it. But there's something else to do now, and I haven't quite worked out what it is. Still do the tarot, but there's a way of building it. And that's maybe why the whole Arabian Nights thing has been really, really useful, because it's been a real proper, separating the wheat from the chaff and all that kind of thing. Send me a address, I'll box the books up. I'm not even joking. Like, I love books. I'll take all books. How are you finding the blood tarot? Oh, do you know what? Like, it's literally sat here. Chris, it's literally sat here, and I'm waiting to do a walkthrough video for it, and I just haven't had the time yet. It's exquisite. I haven't done any readings on YouTube with it, but it's really incredible. And it's one of the things, it's on my list of things to do, is do a walkthrough of that, because like us tarot geeks will nerd out a little bit over that, and particularly if you're kind of interested in dark things, because it is literally made with the artist's blood. It's prints of the artist's blood in particular spatter shapes and stuff. So really awesome, really, really awesome. You need all of that spiritual exorcism because you have a demon living inside of you. All right, Steve. Good stuff. Oh, I actually feel a bit sorry for you, Steve, because there's so much beautiful stuff outside of your narrow viewpoint. If you just opened your eyes to it, like, am I a single mum? Yes, I am a single mum. Yeah, Diana. Sorry. Oh, Steve's on one, like, isn't he? Right. Yeah, energy vampire is right. Oh my shit. Like, all this talking keeps happening. Oh, Eagle Spirit, hello. Is this a super chat? Is this what this looks like? Wow, thank you very much. I really, really appreciate it, Eagle Spirit. That's awesome. What do supermoon eclipses mean for 2020? It's kind of like the energy of the moon to the nth degree. The supermoons are when they're closer to the Earth, and then by extension, the effect that it has on the Earth is magnified. So if you are a witch, or you deal with any kind of moon energy for your work, whatever it is, it amps up. The amplification is immense. Any meditations that you do during that time will be affected by it as well. And it's, like I said, I'm not entirely sure that the moon's real, but cannot deny that it has a very, very intense effect on everything, right? All the energy is just like at this time. And like, if you're sensitive to it, which a lot of people are, it can actually leave you feeling a little bit like dizzy with it sometimes. But if you've got any particular work that you're wanting to do, it's a big deal. The eclipses are like, again, supercharged release, right? So I've alluded to this a few times, that there was an eclipse season in the sign of Leo that went on over about 2 years, and it knocked Leos down into the ground. Basically, it tore away from them everything that they ever held dear, pretty much everything that they thought they knew about themselves. And there was just eclipse after eclipse after eclipse, and it was a purge in the most fundamental way of their foundation of everything, right? So when you get a supermoon eclipse, it's about really getting rid of those things that need shot, right? And aligning your energy and making you a cleaner being almost, because you're getting rid of all that crap that's sitting on the top. You know, this stuff that we talk about month after month, stuff that causes the overthinking, all that kind of thing, right? It's big. And with the energy that's, you know, with the shit that's going on in the cosmos at the moment as well already, right? The Great Awakening 2020, like things are shifting. The world's going to be a very different place, I think, in 2021, or probably by about 2023. So much talking. Oh, I love you all so much. I love the fact that you're all talking. Right. I'm not into... I think my connection went a bit unstable there at one point. Right. I hope this chat's updating properly. It's rolling tobacco doesn't burn as long as factory-made cigarettes. That's right. It's also because, you know, I'm not paying fucking £14 for a packet of tabs. That's absolutely ridiculous. And I've been poor my entire life. So when I was 17, my boyfriend's dad, who had been in the Navy, taught me how to roll cigarettes. And actually, I prefer them. So, yeah, I should give up, though. I rock the title Tarot Queen. Oh, Anna Shepherd, respect. I love that. Thank you so much. Tiffany Sanchez, no love readings. Face vomiting. I'm assuming that you like the fact that there are no tarot, no love readings, or maybe you're upset about that. I'm not sure. It's not clear. But no, I don't really do love it. I'll deal with it if it comes up, but broadly, it's not what my interest is. And well, I'm just going to explain this here and now, is because, in my opinion, it doesn't matter if you have, you know, Jason Momoa himself coming to give you their cup of love, right? If you're not a full, complete, whole person, if you have issues, if you have, you know, tendencies towards, say, codependency or something like that, you're not going to have that beautiful relationship that you want, because you're going to fuck it up somewhere. So my focus is on you here and now, and how to make you the best version of yourself that you can be. Right? That's my ethos. That's what I set out to do. And so to that end, it doesn't really matter who's coming towards you. It doesn't really matter any of that stuff. It's all about you. It's all about your reactions to things and all that kind of stuff. Thank you for the confirmation, Denise. I appreciate that. Doesn't it spin you out that your readings resonate with so many? Yes. Well, it actually wigged me out very hard to start with, but I've kind of got comfortable with it now, because I see really clearly that there is collective energy, and like I'm comfortable with that now. I take a lot of comfort from it, actually, because, you know, we'll go back to this dark place that I was in for a long time. Like I was alone. I felt very, very alone. Had I known at that point that this was a collective energy kicking that we were having, I think that I wouldn't have felt quite so persecuted as I did. And that's one of the things that I kind of gently try and point out to people all the time. Like, this is not you being victimized. This is not happening to you. This is happening for you as a collective, and what you choose to do with it is the important part of that. So, often when we think we need a love reading, what we really need is perspective into our own selves. Yes. Oh my God. Yes. To the nth degree. Do you recommend tarot cards for self-discovery? Honestly, any deck will do. I only had one for a long time, and it was literally just the Universal Rider-Waite. Like, that's just what I used. It wasn't until oh fuck. I'm trying to think what the second deck was that I bought. Do you know, I think it might have been the Crow Tarot, actually, which means that, yeah, so I love this Crow Tarot. Absolutely love it. And I think I bought it because it was crows, and it felt like a bit of an indulgence. But then I realized the value of being able to do readings with multiple decks, and it's actually huge. It's a big thing. But for years, I just used that, just use that there. But when you use multiple decks, you open up the possibility of being able to get multiple cards, which then, you know, for the same cards, which really drives home a particular message. It's a really good way of pointing to something that really, really requires your attention. And so I like that. But literally any deck will do. Any deck. Oh, thank you, Aurora Borealis. That's really sweet. I appreciate that. John Ferguson. There are a lot of love readings out there, and to be honest, I think for a lot of people that's what they want, right? Because a lot of people look outside of themselves for the answer, and they want to be rescued. Is the honest answer, and I've fucking been there, and I didn't appreciate it for what it was at the time, but that was what it was. And part of my drive is to try and make people understand that it's literally doesn't matter what's going on outside of you at all. What matters is what's going on in here. It's the only thing that matters, in fact. And perspective, a shift in perspective can change your entire life without changing anything around you at all. It can literally change everything in a second. And that's really valuable. And that's what it's what I hope people understand. Synchronicity. Yeah, there've been birds singing their heads off outside the window for a couple of weeks now. I really, really like it. If you were into love readings, I wouldn't have found you. Yeah, I know. I tried once. I did one video where I tried to do a love reading, and it just felt so inauthentic. Like I just couldn't put my heart into it at all, and I was just like, nah, this isn't for me. It's not what I do. So, deviate. Have you heard the sounds the planets make? It's freaky. It's absolutely freaky. I've heard some of those recordings, and it gets you somewhere deep that you cannot really explain. Boon Noob, really? Okay. Tiffany, if Capricorn is my moon, would I follow the Capricorn readings over the Taurus sun? No, don't follow one over the other. Check out the videos for your moon signs and for your ascendant signs. Like that's what I set intention for when I read, is for sun, moon, and ascendant. Other people do Venus and Jupiter and all these kind of things, and I'm like, no, that's too broad. I keep it to those three, because those three are the ones that have the most effect on you, I think, in my personal experience anyway. And I would listen to them and see which ones resonate, because sometimes you resonate more with your sun sign, sometimes with your ascendant sign, sometimes with your moon sign. It depends what's going on with you, what you're experiencing at the time. Yeah, being a Leo sun and a Leo moon, I only really watch Leo readings. And I don't bother with my ascendant anymore, because I don't feel like that plays as much of a part in my character as it used to, because I've changed quite a lot over the years, so I don't bother with that. Rafaela, Venus and Cancer twins, love it. What's the 8th house in a sign mean, right? So the eighth house, like all the houses in astrology, I'm going to do a video on this at some point, and I'm not an astrologer. I'm going to say that like straight out. I have spoken to astrologers, and they frankly blow me away with their knowledge about these things. But you get 12 houses, and each one of those covers a different aspect of your existence. And the 8th house, I believe it deals with other people's money, but it also deals with death and transformation. So when you have a lot of planets in that, and I do have a big cluster of planets in that, it's like lots of aspects of your life will undergo a transformation this time around, in this incarnation. I have no planets in the 1st house, which I found interesting. None in the 2nd, none in the 3rd, none in the 4th, none in the 5th, 1 in the 6th, 5 in the 7th, and 4 in the 8th, and then another couple somewhere else. I don't know where they are. But that's really interesting, because that means that, kind of like my life purpose is all about transformation, and the 7th house is all about relationships with other people. Broadly, I mean, that is a massively simplistic view of what the crack is, but that's what that refers to anyway. Maria Romanelli, your mum always plants seeds according to moon cycles. That is beautiful. I really, really like that. That's awesome. Jane. Oh, hello, Jane. I was literally just talking to Jane today. If you go to any of my videos and click the description box, open it up, it'll there's a link down there, and it says like to find your birth chart, follow this link. And what you do is you put in your date of birth, where you were born, and what time you were born, and it will churn out like something close to a 30-page report that will give you all of those signs. And I think it's Cafe Astrology, I think, or Astrolabe, one of the two that I've linked to, but they tend to set it out in a way that's really cool. Let's see. Jodie Kelly, what do I think about David Icke? Oh, I might lose some people. I've been following David Icke's work for about 20 years. And I went to see him when he came to Newcastle in 2018. I think he has a lot of interesting ideas, and not all of his ideas feel that out there for me. We'll just leave it there, I think, like that. David Icke's Taurus. I didn't actually know that. That's interesting. Oh my god. I think I need like a whole heap of people to actually write down the questions as they're coming in. Let's see. Rhonda Boots. I don't have a Facebook group. I've got a page, and I just post shit on there. To be honest, like, I think I'm probably most active on Instagram, and it's like a banner for the inside of my head. So if I see a cool thing that I like, I just put it on Instagram. And so more often than not, that is pictures of my dog, because I love my dog. I actually just did recently buy a couple of books on it. I want to have a bash at accessing my own first, but I feel fairly confident that I would be able to access other people's potentially thereafter, but we'll see. Watch this space. Get Moldavite. Sweet. I'm up for anything that will shake my boots. That sounds exciting. Definitely. Judy NYC, separation in twin flame relationship. Any advice? Yeah, forget about them. Like, I know that's easier said than done, but the whole point of a twin flame relationship is to trigger the shit out of you, to cause you to evolve and to grow and to fix those things about you that are broken, right? Your twin is your mirror. They show you all the things in you that require fixing. And to that end, like the twins, they come in, they bounce off you, they trigger all of this stuff. You feel great love for them, obviously, because they're the other half of you. You love them dearly, but then they show you stuff that you need to work with, and then they tend to go, right? Because twin flame union is, I think personally, twin flame union in its truest sense is those two souls coming back together as one, not as a couple, but as one soul, right? Because the point is, you're supposed to be experiencing the world at an increased rate. That's why the soul splits. And if your twin has run off, like, the process then is to start to try and deal with that. Like, I don't know if any of you have picked up on it, but I have had a twin flame relationship, and it was one of the most bruising experiences of my life. And I still hear what he's thinking sometimes because I'm not tuned into him, even though he lives a very long way away from me now. But you won't ever break the connection, but it is you are capable of living with that connection and getting on with your life, right? There is a way of putting it in the right place in your head, I think, right? There's a lot of there's a lot of shit about twin flames that I just don't even really know where to start with. That is kind of wrong. And I see websites that are offering to take you through like tutoring to accelerate your leveling up, to get you two back together quicker. And I find that so objectionable. That is just taking money off desperate people. And when you're in a twin flame relationship, when you realize you're in a twin flame relationship, you will literally do almost anything to make that come together, but it's kind of missing the point. The point is about your growth. It's about your evolution. It's about you leveling up, and it's very little to do with them. Like, they come in to show you the work that you need to do, and then they go. I try not to talk about it too much because thing. Kerry Kenyon, I've been drawn to recast myself, been wanting to start a channel for a long time. Feelings getting stronger. Fucking do it. Absolutely fucking just do it. Like, if the feeling is there and you are drawn to do it, do it. Don't question it. Just do as you're told, which is what I do broadly. Like, I get a nudge and I'm like, all right, I'm going to go do this thing now. Like, that's fine. Marcy R, any meditations you would recommend? I have trouble connecting with them. Right. So I have trouble with guided visualizations, that kind of meditation, because I don't visualize well. Like, I cannot see things inside my head. So you can, meditation's broadly split into two. So you've got those kind of visual journeys, that one type of meditation. The other type is about just cultivating stillness. And I've felt like that for me was much more beneficial. This is about stepping down your brain and allowing yourself to feel. And because I'm clairsentient and clairaudient, like, I find those two things have really increased exponentially since I started the meditation. So I try and avoid ones where they take you, they walk you through a garden and you meet spirit guides and spirit animals and stuff like that. Because I just don't get anything out of them at all. But those ones that are literally just music, and it's just about letting the thoughts sort of go by and observe them impartially, like, without engaging with them. Those are the meditations that I have found the most helpful. And it's really just about finding that, like, kind of melodic beat, like something that you can just kind of, something that's entertaining your monkey brain, something that makes you feel calm, all that kind of thing. And then, bringing the focus back to the breath every time. And when you realize that you're thinking, go, thank you, thoughts, that's fine. Now you just sit over there and bring the thought back to the breath, that sort of thing. I find that more helpful for getting in touch with your intuition and stuff than any of the others. Hi there, miss you, a witch. What, oh heck? You think you can tell over energies if I'm a witch or a spiritualist? I just question me. I think, like, witchery, I think it's something that you discover about yourself that's kind of innate. And I think if you're drawn in that kind of direction anyway, then the chances are that you are, is my simple opinion on that. Joanne Sansom, do you think you can watch too many tarot readings? Yeah, I think you can sometimes tie yourself up in a knot with watching it, particularly if you watch someone, they've got conflicting perspectives on your situation. But sometimes, even if they don't, even if they're all agreeing, And then you kind of set yourself up ready to receive, whatever this is, whatever situation is apparently coming towards you. And then for some reason it swerves you. I think it can leave you feeling quite discombobulated, actually. I don't watch that many anymore. And like I said, sometimes, particularly with like, I don't know, Radiant Reality and stuff like that, I watch them even if they don't resonate with me, because I really appreciate what he does. And he's quite entertaining to watch. Santaro, I found, is resonating really, really hard with me, and has done for the last six months or so. Who else did I mention? House of Ocean. She rarely resonates with me at all, but I find her so fabulously entertaining. I just watch her. But yes, practice discernment. Like, pick a handful of tarot readers and watch their videos for your signs if you want to. But like, I find I watch them less and less anyway, because I think a lot of what people watch tarot readers for is to try and get a sense of what's coming. But in doing so, they almost kind of sidestep their ability to be a co-creator in their own existence, because it's kind of like they're stuck waiting for life to happen at them. And sometimes it's about, and particularly with the kind of reading that I do, I'm kind of like, where are you right here, right now? What's going on inside you? Because I think once you start sorting that out, then you start becoming a conscious co-creator of your own existence moving forwards, rather than just being subject to, what could be coming in. Personally, that's what I think anyway. Do we get twin flame energy from more than one person? How do we recognize whether we have the real one? Right, so this is an interesting thing. I was actually having a conversation with my sister about this a little while ago, because I had assumed that you can only have one twin flame, because that's what I'd read everywhere. But my cards recently told me different, which I found a little baffling to start with, and instantly rejected. I was like, that's ridiculous. That can't be a thing. And then I thought about it, and I thought, well, why do I think that's not a thing? And I thought it was not a thing because everything that I've read said it wasn't a thing. And I was like, why would I abdicate my own experience in favor of what other people tell me is the thing when I'm experiencing it, in my own life? And I think that you can have, because it is possible for one soul to be split into many, many different ways, and it's a documented thing. But for some reason, twin flames have some sort of special status, and so yes, I think it is possible to have several, and they do the job of triggering you and causing you to, this kind of forced evolution that comes along with it. I think it's possible to have multiple ones. Yes. What does it say about us if we're obsessed with watching tarot readings on YouTube? I don't think it says anything about you, anything negative anyway, because I've been there. I've been obsessed with it, and I literally just don't have time now to be obsessed with it. I think it's what we do when we aren't confident enough in our own abilities to kind of pick apart ourselves. Honestly, because I found over time I watch them less and less, because I'm kind of more aware of what's going on inside me, and I'm not that bothered about knowing what's coming up either, I think. Yeah. Am I single? No, I'm not single. 7 parts of my natal chart are in Capricorn. I'm assuming this means I'm extreme Capricorn. Am I amazing? Yes, it does. That's absolutely what it means. That's awesome. Rafaela, Ace of Pentacles is excellent. Yeah, like, she's quite interesting. I do watch her stuff occasionally. Like, not one reading she's ever done has resonated with me, but I kind of like her style. I like the way she does it. So, yeah. Soul Source Tarot, yeah, I've come across them. Opal Oracle, I really, really liked her for a long time. And then suddenly just the connection that I felt with it just kind of disappeared. She kind of disappeared off YouTube for a few months. And then when she came back, like, I was just missing the connection that I'd felt beforehand, because she was actually hands down my favorite reader for a long time. So I haven't actually watched any of her videos for about 6 months or something now, I think. Maybe longer, actually. I might go and check out another one of her videos, because she's cool. She's got a cool style, definitely. But yeah, anyway. Hello, Jessica. Nice to see you. Oh, I've no idea how far behind I am. Joey B. Lon Milo Duquette writes books about Aleister Crowley and his practices in depth. Yeah, I've got a couple of them. Milo Duquette is a fucking don, right? If you're looking for really good occult books, he is the man. Oh, what is your favorite deck? Oh, I was really hoping nobody was going to ask me that, right? Because I cannot pick. It's like trying to ask me to pick my favorite child. I can't do it. The thing about decks is they all have their own different personalities, much like your children, in fact. And some of them are easier to get on with than others. But they all give you a different perspective, right? You know, so sometimes when I'm doing a reading and I'll pick up a deck and I'll go, oh no, it's not that one, it's this one. Right? It's because they all talk about different things. Like I've got the Tarot Mucha and I use that for relationship readings because it's what it told me it wanted to do, right? So then I've got other decks like this John Bauer one that is absolutely exquisite. I fucking love it. It's incredible. I love that, and it gives me a very particular type of reading. This Lost Forest deck that I used for the mid-months is exceptional. It's a really incredible piece of artwork, almost to the point where I was kind of scared to use it for tarot readings because it was just so beautiful. I didn't want to fuck it up. The Marigold deck that my son bought me for Christmas is incredible. The Crow Tarot is incredible. The Wild Unknown is an amazing deck. Oh, this Commonplace deck as well that I've been using. Like they've all got very different personalities and very different styles. And so reading by reading, they tell me which ones need to come in for the readings. And I kind of love them all. There are some that I love less, but if I had to narrow it down, it'd be a list of about 20 that I absolutely adore that I couldn't really pick one from. It's like trying to pick your favorite album. You know, it doesn't really work because it depends on your mood. It depends what you want to listen to at that point, right? It depends what you want to read about with a particular deck. You know, it depends whether you're doing shadow work. And if I'm doing shadow work, then the Marigold deck and Deviant Moon tend to be my go-tos. But if I want a no-nonsense, no bullshit reading, the Crow Tarot always gives me that. If I want to kind of have a conversation where I kind of gently probe stuff out, then that would be a different deck. I was saying. So, but I've got shitloads. And I'm like, backing decks on Kickstarter is my new obsession. I just keep finding amazing decks on there. There's one, Oak and Thorn, I think it is, that I've just backed, and that's incredible. That's a really, really amazing deck. What else have I backed? I backed the Lost Forest, the second edition, again because it's slightly different to the first one, and I want it because it's amazing. So I've got that. What else is there? There's about 4 different decks that I'm waiting for. Goetia, the Goetia Tarot, which is all, yeah. Well, Steve's going to love that because it's all based on demons. I'll just confirm that he's, that he's right, and I've got a demon trapped inside of me. I actually would have said jinn, to be honest. There's something about jinn that I find really, really fascinating, and I think if I was anything, I probably would be a jinn. So there you go. Tarot course, yes. Tarot course, yes. All right, tarot course. Tarot course is coming. Ela Karaspera. Hello, Greek man. I went to Crete in October and I absolutely fell in love with Crete, and I'm definitely going back. Like all my kids loved it, and my daughter said the other day that it was her favorite place in the whole world. So that's mint. Like, nice to see you, Greek person. Being drawn to start learning tarot, where would you start? So a lot of the advice that people give from tarot is throw the book away, right? And it's a valid position, and I understand where it's coming from, right? Because whenever you get a deck, right? Actually, let's pick some, right? So I've got the Akashic Tarot here, right? Whenever you get a deck, you always get a guidebook with it, and sometimes they're big, thick books like this, and sometimes they're just little, like just little pamphlets, right? And I see a lot of people say just throw them away. You don't need them, because it's all about you connecting with the deck, and it's about what it means to you, and it shouldn't be about what it means to other people. But actually, because of this Capricorn thing that I've got, and this obsessive knowledge, you need to know everything about things. Like I read everything I could lay my hands on, so I'd got an encyclopedic definitions of every card in my head, and everything that anybody's ever thought about a particular card. And I think there's a lot of value in that. And so to that end, I would say, don't throw away the book. Use the book, because, you know, you do kind of need to have a rough idea of what they mean, certainly. So that's the first thing. But also taking the time to really study the cards and see if there are any particular symbols on any bit of the card that means something to you. But from there, like I was saying before, taking a few minutes in the morning, every morning, to ask, you know, for 3 cards for the day, say. You can do it with 1, but I find I like 3s, right? So do everything in 3s. And then spend like maybe 10 minutes or something at the end of the day, seeing if there's anything that you can relate to, you know, because it's all about finding your particular voice as a reader, but that's not something that comes until you've got some confidence. And until you've got confidence, what do? Right? You need to rely on somebody else's interpretation of it to give you that grounding before you've got the confidence. Once you've got the confidence, then the cards can mean whatever they mean to you. But in the first place, you kind of have to have a rock to stand on in the first place. And so that's where I would start personally. Also keep seeing 555. What's your take on this? I would say that was an energy shift, right? It's kind of like things are destabilizing, but that's a good thing, right? Because it allows what needs to leave space to go, which then creates space for new things to come in, is what I would say about that. I should do a podcast. Oh, do you know, I love podcasts. I spend a lot of time listening to podcasts. And yeah, but I don't know what I would talk about, to be honest. To be fair, pretty much talk about anything forever. Just sort of bleh. How do I do my hair like that? Wait, somebody commented on there was Mr. Warlight. Somebody commented on one of my videos. The combing one's hair with a toffee apple look, and I absolutely loved that. It really tickled me. I've just got mad hair. I don't do anything to it; it just does its own thing. Like some days it's a bit flat, other days, depending on how excitable I am, it just tends to get bigger. It's weird hair. Like it's very, very thick and very, very coarse, so it doesn't kind of lie nicely. It kind of stacks on itself. But to be honest, like it's kind of a reflection of the madness within, so I like it. Book club and kickboxing demos. Interestingly enough, head coach is it's got a YouTube channel with stuff on. Wow. How do I prepare for a reading? With a lot of fucking about, actually. If I'm quite honest, I do a meditation on the collective energy. That's what these coins are that I use here. Sorry, who is that? Nikki Mystery. Yeah, I've got these zodiac coins, and they've all got the different signs on. Right? So I stick them in my hand, and I do my little invoking of, you know, spirit guides and all that sort of thing. And then I just sit with it. I sit with the energy. I don't don't generally see things while I'm meditating at all, but I get feelings about stuff. So with the Virgo readings that I've been doing recently, I've been physically experiencing like anxiety and all sorts of things like while I'm doing the reading. But once I acknowledge it and I say that it's there, then it usually goes. But it gives me a really good insight into just how people are feeling at the time, which is it's quite helpful. But beyond that, I sage. Like I've got sage 6. So I cleanse the space, cleanse the cards. And I just make sure that I'm in the right space to read, because sometimes I like, if your energy's not up and you try and read, it's just bollocks. Like you could sit there for hours and try and extricate meaning from it and it's just not coming. But when you're in the right frame of mind, it's just there. So it's a constant battle to make sure that I'm in the right space for it. And sometimes if I sit down and I try and do it and it's not coming, I just have to fucking put it down for the rest of the day and go do something else. It's not like having a 9-to-5 job where you can just sit there and kind of plod away at it, because it's not doing justice to the reading, and I really want to do justice to the reading. And in order to do that, I actually have to kind of prioritize my own energy, which kind of feels self-indulgent and weird, but to do the best readings I possibly can, that's kind of what I need to do. So Carly, have you thought about writing your interpretation of the cards and the symbolism? No, because like I said, I've kind of got this encyclopedia of card meanings in my head, but often it shifts. Like sometimes looking at a card and I'll spot something that I've never noticed before in my life, and I cannot take my eyes off it. And that's the important thing. That's where the thing is. And then sometimes I'll be looking at something, and something that I have looked at over and over again and seen in a particular way, suddenly it's shifted into something else and I cannot see it any other way than that. And I've been like, what the fuck? And that's the thing. But then the next time I read the card, it's back to its usual kind of thing. I spent a little bit of time kind of taking them all apart. But ultimately, I didn't really feel like it did me any good, apart from getting me to kind of meditate on the cards and the content of it, because it kind of shifts from reading to reading anyway. And the way I see a card, depending on the cards that are around it, will change the meaning. But also sometimes I pick up a card, like, it was a reading I did the other day, and there's in this John Bauer deck, the devil in it is some sort of mischievous, impy character, and I actually kind of like him. He's got a pointy chin and like an impressive tash. I don't know if the camera will pick it up terribly well there, but like it feels kind of mischievous, but not bad. But then the other day I was doing a reading in it and I got a real malignant feel off it. I really didn't like it at all. And it shifts from reading to reading. So, I mean, if I end up developing this tarot course, I'm going to have to put some kind of effort into putting that in, at least. Do I do any energy work as well? Yeah, a little bit. But not formal, because I'm kind of an eclectic witch, so I kind of I don't make stuff up, but I kind of steal things from all different disciplines, and if it works for me, then it's good. I can tell that she smokes cigarettes non-stop. I actually don't, but I'm kind of nervous sat here in front of you, so I am smoking a lot. Yeah. So does consuming where did that go? Somebody asked a question about weed. Does it help connect you with your higher self? I don't find it helps me personally, but I know it does help other people. So, each to their own, I think. Virginia Quesada, YouTube states tarot reading is just entertaining. You agree with that? I think it's the right category to put it into, if I'm honest. Because just as there are lots of very highly skilled readers on YouTube, I feel certain there's kind of some that aren't. and I don't know of any off the top of my head, but just statistically speaking, it's mathematically impossible that they're all as gifted as I perceive them to be, potentially. But I think putting it in the entertainment bracket is important because it makes people have to employ a level of discernment that they should be employing anyway. But if it was presented in a more official way than that, I think that people would potentially give up their autonomy more to readers than they should do. Right? It's only ever about guidance is the thing. And yeah, to give it a more official footing would, I think, stop people from using that discernment as much as they should do. I think that's just my personal take on it as well. Like, obviously, I take what I do very fucking seriously, for myself and also for other people. But I'm not infallible. I'm not. I'm just doing the best that I can, just as all of us are just doing the best that they can. So, no, I think broadly it's correct, to be honest. I once mentioned that I was wary of Taurians. Yes, I fucking was. Very good reason. But I'm over it. It's good. Why is that you really understand us? I don't know. I'm kind of a student of the human condition. I spent a lot of time just kind of studying people, and I'm really good at seeing how people are broken. Like, just people that I meet, like I just get them. So I don't know, because there's been a level of ascension going on with Taurus, but there've been issues that they've needed to iron out in order to do that. Like, that's kind of where I come in, because I'm good at spotting the ways in which people don't need to, in which it would help if people did things slightly differently, I think, is the answer to that. Do you ever feel like some readers implement their positive or negative influences in their reading? Don't quite know what you mean by that. Sorry, that's Sarah Busybee, SSBB. If somebody implement the positive or negative readings. I'm not quite sure what you mean by that question. If you want to stick it in again, slightly reworded, I'll give you my opinion on that. Hang on. Do I know what my Myers-Briggs personality type is? Yeah, it's like INTJ, I think. Something like that, anyway. GT4Ziggy2, you mentioned that Taurus have to level up to help the collective for what's coming next. Do you know what's coming up? No, I fucking don't. And it's driving me fucking bonkers. I was actually having a conversation with a magician that I know a couple of days ago. When was it? Like Friday or something? And I was talking to him about this, and I was like, it's driving me fucking spare. Like, I don't know what it is. I just know that it's coming. And he was like, I know exactly what you mean. He said, but does it matter? And I was like, oh, possibly not, actually. He said, it's just about preparing yourself to be in the best possible space that you can be for when whatever it is finally gets here. And I was like, yeah, that's right. And that's kind of broadly how I've been approaching it anyway. So I would fucking love to know what it is. Absolutely would. But I don't know. And it pisses me off that I don't know, because I like to know things. It makes me happy to know things. And I don't know what this is. But this is what I feel. And I can't ignore that. I also feel like I have a big thing to do and I don't know what it is. And I knew that when I got up on New Year's Day. I got up and I was like, something big is happening this year and I'm part of it. And as the months went by, like January, February, I was like, oh my God, something big is coming. I can feel it. And it's ramped up month after month after month, and I feel like I'm very close to what it is, but I don't fucking know what it is. I have no idea what it is. All that seems to have happened recently is that I pissed a load of people off by reading them a book. Made lots of people happy by reading them a book as well, but I've absolutely no idea what it is, and I wish I did, and I wish I could tell you what it was, but I can't. So all that I'm trying to do now is make sure that you're all in the best possible shape for it when it does arrive. Emma Rowlands, good to see you, dude. It's only been about 25 years. Fucking hell. Saji has been a bit mental lately. I honestly think it is bad. I like, hands down, my best friend is a Sagittarius, and he went through the mill a little bit. At the same time, the energy that Sagittarius is giving off at the moment is absolutely incredible, and I really do think things are on the up for you. I actually do, 100%. Lara, your birthday was 22. That's the same as my daughter's birthday. She's Pisces as well. Wilbur's human. Maybe, just maybe, you don't want to know. No, I fucking do want to know. I'm nosy as shit. I'm a cat. All right, fucking Leo. Like, curiosity killed the cat. Like, I would like to know. Josh Delancey. Hey, fellow Leo. Leos. That's mint. It's funny, like, Leo's one of the few, they're one of the videos that get like far less views, actually, which I was a bit wounded about initially. I was like, where is my Leo tribe? And the Leos that do watch are incredible and awesome, and I love them very much. But I was quite surprised that there weren't more of them. I don't know. It's a thing. Aruba. Cassandra, where is Aruba? Like, it's one of those places that I've heard of, and I don't even know where it is. Like, Laura. There you go. Yeah, same date, 20th. What do I think about Elon Musk? I think Elon Musk is a Bond villain, right? There's something about Elon Musk that really puts my back up, and I don't know what it is. And my son absolutely loves Elon Musk, right? But I think if ever there was a modern day Bond villain, Elon Musk is it. And one day we're going to find out that he's got, like, fucking super fucking missile silos under lakes and shit like that. I don't know. I don't trust him. Is the honest answer to that. HGB Entertainment. My name is Carrie. Carrie, just like the Stephen King book. Let's have a look, see if I've missed anything up here. I love you all so much. I can't tell you how grateful I am that you've all turned up. Like, I had no idea how this was going to go at all. And you've all just tipped up and been brilliant. Like, this is awesome. Wilbur's human. I still want to know if you want to marry an old stoic bull. As delightful as that offer is. I'm good for now, but thank you. I appreciate the offer. Oh, I missed that question from you, Ashley. A stim with coins to meditate before reading. No, I don't. Like, my stims are really subtle, to the point where I only actually, I'm still kind of discovering them, but it's only been the last couple of years where I've noticed this is a stim. this is a huge stim. This is a stim as well. And like I said, like I don't smoke like a chimney at all, but I do smoke when I'm feeling slightly anxious, and I am feeling slightly anxious because I'm sat on YouTube on a live stream and I've never done this before. So I'm like smoking a lot. But I have done since I was like 13 or something. So I gave up once. I have no idea where I started again. It was stupid, but yeah. With the coins, I literally just sit with them in my hand, between my two hands like that, and I just sit and meditate basically. And what I tend to find is what comes through is feelings. It's actually sometimes physical pain, like in the case of Virgo. I was big pain in the head there. I think I did a Taurus video where I felt like somebody had literally got their thumb in my third eye, like just pressing on it really, really hard. Other times it's kind of, it's like an antsy feeling, and then other times I'll do a reading and I just feel absolutely blissed out, just like a couple of the Sagittarius readings have been like that recently. It's just a really nice energy, and this is what I mean, like doing the meditations, finding the stillness and all that kind of thing is also about isolating those sensations, those feelings in the body that aren't yours, because I'm an empath, and for years I've gone around picking up other people's injuries without even actually realizing that I was doing it, or like the physical sensation of the injuries. I thought I was just a bit old and knackered. But as time has gone by and I've got more tuned into it, I can then realize when I am picking up somebody else's back pain, leg pain, knee pain, joint pain, all that kind of thing. And kind of guard myself against it a little bit. It's putting up efficient boundaries and all that kind of thing. So no. I'm really digging all the book recommendations, by the way. I really like that. I'll definitely be going through the chat at some point and writing them all down and going to find them. Tyler's Tarot. Yeah, Virginia, like I've watched his stuff, but like I really, really liked him to start with. But then there was a kind of a succession of videos where I actually felt like I was imposing by watching, because he seemed to be in a really dark place, and it seemed like when he was feeling really, really low, he got on YouTube, and that probably worked really well for him. But I felt like a voyeur in somebody else's misery, and that made me really, really uncomfortable. And so I kind of stepped back from his channel a little bit after that. And he's very aggressive, and I get it now, right? Because I used to watch some tarot channels, and I'd be like, and they'd go, if you don't fucking like what I do, then you can fuck off. And I'll be like, oh gosh, that's a bit rude and stuff. But then bit by bit, I've kind of started to understand what it is that they're experiencing half the time. And sometimes I read things and I go, oh, fuck off. Like, nah. Like, because it's people coming from a place of fear, or, all that. And in the end, I have to just not think about it and just think, right, they're entitled to their opinion. It's fine. I'm just going to keep trying to be authentic to myself and move forwards in a way that feels authentic to me. And if that pisses some people off, then so be it. That's the thing. But I wonder half of the time if any of these people would actually say it to me in front of me, because I think they probably wouldn't. They like to hide behind a keyboard, and I certainly got that impression from some of the emails that I got. So I can kind of see why people lose their shit, and Tyler tends to kind of really jump on people in live streams, and kind of, I don't know, sometimes he errs towards just being insulting for the sake of it, and he's probably got reason to be fair, but like that makes me feel slightly uncomfortable as well. But he's a very talented tarot reader, I'll say that much, definitely. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's got over 300,000 subscribers now. Like, he's doing really, really well for himself, and rightly so, because he's a very talented reader. But it was just, I felt wrong kind of seeing him in that state. I don't know. And that's possibly part of my own thing, because if I was feeling that low, like I tend to hide, tend to do the, you know, dying cat thing, go fucking hide under a bush or something and lick my wounds until I'm ready to come out. So yeah, that's probably my things. Adelina Bond. Oh, I loved Adelina Bond. Like her channel manner, I really, really loved that. But I think she was quite a sensitive soul, and I think that she got quite a lot of obnoxious sexual advances that she didn't like very much. But I think that she was having some issues with YouTube as well. I don't know. She didn't really go into it when she closed the channel down. Like I used to watch her readings. She was one of the ones that I watched religiously. And she didn't hugely go into it when she shut the channel down, but I got the impression that that was the thing. Yeah, I think she's doing everything off her own website now. So yeah. Linda Price, are we drawn to a specific tarot reader? Yeah, I think that you are. I would say almost certainly. Anecdotally, from my experience, I found that the clients that I have that come to me have had similar, like, I used to ask people why they'd come to me specifically when I first started, and they all said the same thing, more or less, which was just that they were drawn to me. And then over the course of the reading, it would become clear why they were drawn to me, because there were similarities of experience. And there was stuff that I had never spoken about on YouTube, but somehow energetically, they just knew that I would get it. And I get it because I have experienced it as well. And that has happened far too many fucking times, even down to the brain injury. It's happened far too many times for me to ignore it as a thing. So I think I kind of lit a beacon. And those people that energetically get me, it's usually because there's been a correlation of experience. And unfortunately, my experience for a very long time was very, very miserable. So like, it tends to be people who have got fairly deep-rooted issues, who have suffered a lot. And on the other hand, I kind of like that, because the whole point of me being here and doing what I do, like I've put this in the blurb on the videos, is because there have been times in my life where I was absolutely, genuinely alone, dealing with some really, really hard stuff. And I would have loved someone like me now to have been able to go to me 20 years ago, 10 years ago, 25 years ago, and go, it's okay. Like, you'll get through this. This all sound like I've kind of walked this path before. Do you want to try coming this way? I try and be that person to all of you. Like that's my drive. That's why I'm here. I kind of feel like that's why I've experienced what I have experienced over my life, is to be able to give me the insight to be able to help. That's just my perspective. So when somebody reaches out and books a reading with me, generally I can kind of expect there to be something along those lines for us to talk about. Yeah. Can I show you a pic of me from my fighter days? That's so weird. I literally just got tagged in a thing that's going around Facebook at the moment, which is it's nominating like martial artists to they have to post some pictures of themselves fighting or coaching, or pay £30 to charity. So I literally went through my Google Photos and picked up a couple of photos from a couple of years ago to post, so that I can fulfill the thing that I've been tagged in. I might stick one in the community tab later. There'll be me looking very unattractive and sweaty, but victorious with my gold fucking trophies, because like I pulled a lot of them in. Just saying, I'm not competitive at all. A little bit, quite competitive actually. Let's see. Yolanda Edwards. I'm unsure if you answered my question or not. I didn't see it. I had 3 aqua relationships in a row. I'm a Taurus. Of course, the relationship hasn't lasted, but I'm unsure why I keep attracting Aquarians. That's a really interesting thing. I've got a friend who was only attracting Tauruses for a long time. I would say that's another one of those things where you look at yourself, like look at Aquarian and kind of spend a bit of time kind of pulling it apart, right? Work out what it is for you that is attracting them, but why are you attracted to Aquarians as well? Because I'm interested to see that you didn't talk about why you were attracted to the Aquarians, but it was why they were attracted to you. And so instantly I'm wondering if you're only striking up relationships with people who are expressing interest in you, right, rather than a thing. It's all about self. It's all about you, right? So have a look about not just the positive aspects of the sign, but the negative aspects of the sign as well, and see if that tallies with your understanding of yourself, and see if you can kind of bridge that gap between it. Because I tend to find that if you do, then at some point it's kind of like a light going on in your head, a bit like how people pleasers and narcissists always end up kind of together. I'm not saying Aquarians are narcissists, but it's like once you see it's a cycle, like you're kind of doomed to repeat it until you see it and it's there, and then you can break that cycle, and then suddenly you don't attract narcissists anymore, or you don't attract Aquarians anymore, or you're not attracted to Aquarians anymore. I'm using the narcissist people pleaser as an example because it's the first thing that came into my head. I am by no means disparaging either sign, but that would be a thing. Capricorn stellium. Yeah, that person with seven Capricorn placements is absolutely a stellium. Trying to see. Like, I'm having trouble keeping up with all of your words. I'm trying my best, I promise. Like, how much stock do I place in the Chinese zodiac and personalities clashing or matching? I think there's something in it, just like I think there's something in everything. None of these things tend to spring up without a root of truth in them somewhere. I'm not familiar enough with the Chinese zodiac to speak about it with any kind of authority. But I know I'm like a metal monkey, and that's from what I've read. The things that I read, they really struck true with me. So I think it's quite likely that there is something in it. But again, it's not something that I know about enough of to talk about. If a life story of you was made, who would play you? God, I would hope it would be someone really cool, but it would probably be someone really nerdy, and that would probably be more accurate, to be honest. I think. I don't know. Growing up, like for years and years and years, everybody told me I looked like Cher, and I was like literally from the age of like 7, because I had this really long dark hair, obviously, big as well, big black hair. But that stopped when I dyed my hair red, finally. But people keep telling me I look like Celine Dion now, and I'm not sure whether to cry about that or not. I don't know. I have quite a striking set of features. They're quite unusual. So I don't know. I don't think there's many people that look like me around, to be honest. I'm kind of unique. So my daughter looks a lot like me, actually. Sometimes I have to sort of double takes her photos, particularly now she's like 17. She really looks a lot like me. She's oh god, oh She's not got red hair. Will you open your book soon, please? Star AUK. Yes. Yes. I don't know if you missed it right at the beginning, but I said I've been working on a scheduling system. I'm actually using Acuity is what I've set up, and so you're going to be able to go into my calendar and see when I've got free and just fucking book yourself in there, because the way it was going before, I was actually spending more time answering emails than I was doing readings, and it was not efficient. And the very last vestiges of my Capricorn ascendant that have anything to do with my life were getting quite vexed about not being efficient. So it's pretty much almost set up entirely, and it looks, I think I will open it up from the 1st of May, I think. So then it's all down to you to book yourself in and tell me what you need and stuff like that, and go that way, because I don't want to stop doing personal readings, because I've met some really incredible people. Like every single reading that I've done, pretty much the people that I've spoken to are people that if I just bumped into them, you know, in a street or something, or in a pub and started talking to them, I'd be like, you're really fucking cool. I want to be their friends. And I've been blessed by being able to make those connections with people all over the world. And I don't want to stop that. And kind of, I don't think it's selfish. There's kind of a slightly selfish thing to it, but yeah. But I pretty much did like 7 or 8 weeks back to back personal readings to get through the backlog, plus doing the YouTube videos on top, plus I was in the gym every night, like teaching and assisting and training and all that kind of thing. And it's like I need to clone myself to be able to keep up with it the way that I was doing it. So it was one of those situations where I was like, there must be a better way. So I finally got through all of the YouTube readings, and then suddenly the UK was going to shit and everything was going to get locked down, and it was basically the apocalypse. So I ended up cooking everything that I had to fill my freezer up, so me and my kids could eat if you know, there was any supply chain issues or something like that. And then so that was an entire week gone, which was supposed to be my week to rest after I finished doing all the backlog of personal readings. And then it's just been an endless succession of YouTube and Vimeo and all that kind of thing as well. So I didn't really get much rest then either. So this last week, I have cleaned up my yard, because that was about 2 years overdue, having a really, really good clean. And I've planted some plants and just generally been a little calmer than I was. Because doing the YouTube videos actually stresses me out quite a bit. Because I'm a perfectionist and because I want it to be good and proper, but also because I struggle to settle to things sometimes. It's an executive function thing. I actually get really up in my head about it, and I get stressed with the fact that I've got this many readings left to do, and I want to do them perfectly, and I want to get them up on YouTube and stuff like that. Yeah. 1st of May. Promise. Right. Carly, if you got 3 autistic children, I would say almost certainly you're probably on the spectrum as well. Interestingly enough, it was me having a load of autistic children and doing lots and lots of reading about it, and then and someone very gently, a very dear friend of mine, saying to me very gently, have you considered the possibility that you might be autistic? And I went, what? No, and then I went, oh. And suddenly it was a layer of insight about myself that I had never contemplated. It didn't even occur to me once. And the more reading that I did to do with kids, I've seen there's been a rise in diagnoses in mothers for exactly this. It's all the research that they do for their own children that's suddenly making like connections appear. It's certainly neurodiversity does seem to be in some ways genetic. So yeah, I would think so. And it's it's interesting. It's changed the way that I view the world. It's changed the way that I see me, and it's allowed me to forgive myself about things that I found very, very difficult when I was young. And I've always kind of thought I must have just been a bit shit about. It's not that at all. I have lots of skills and I'm a very talented woman, but sometimes really, really basic shit just is completely beyond me. So there you go. It's a thing. Totally a thing. Do you know what? I am pretty knackered all the time, Star. Like I am. Like, it's pretty much my default state is knackered. I'm not even gonna lie. Lysiunia. Do you think the post-pandemic planet will be more hospitable to spirituality and healing? Do you see the unprecedented exposure of greed and corruption as part of that process? Yes, 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 and yes, all of it. I think I referred to Braca Goldsmith earlier on, and her readings about the fall of the patriarchy and stuff like that. I think we're going to see a tearing down of a lot of things. This is Saturn. Is it Saturn moving out of Capricorn and into Aquarius, right? It's currently in Aquarius. It's going to move out again and back into Capricorn, but then it's going to move into Aquarius properly from December. Like there's a lot of structure getting torn down here, and I think that there is going to be increasing acceptance of more esoteric things. I've seen it. Again, anecdotally, I've seen it around me. Like I've always been the kooky weird one, but suddenly I'm finding that very kind of straight-laced and like normal people are kind of opening up about having certain sensitivities to things and certain intuitive, gifts that they kind of thought they'd sound stupid if they, spoke about. Like they're coming to me and they're talking to me about it. Like I think there's a gentle kind of very gentle acceptance that's kind of it's been coming in low key, but it's kind of gaining traction, I think. So yeah. Yeah. The age of Aquarius, I think we're all about ready for it, are we not? Yeah. Fuck my life. I have literally been here for 3 hours. Like, it doesn't feel like it at all. Peter Kruger, which is the most boring tarot card? That's a really interesting question. Fuck. None of the major arcana for a start, because the major arcana are all funky and cool. Boring. I think I'm going to have to reject the premise of your question, because you don't read tarot cards individually. Like it forms a picture. Tarot reading is kind of like it's kind of like storytelling. But the story is finding the thread that runs between all of the cards. So every card is important to that greater whole. And there are some cards that I find less interesting than others, but I wouldn't say necessarily boring, because sometimes they can be, even the cards that say like the 8 of Wands, there's not very much to look at on that card, but that card can be an absolute linchpin in a reading, right? It can open up a reading in a very particular way. So I think they all have a value. The Taurosophy Association once did a study and asked people, which tarot card they would take out if they, one whose meaning wasn't necessarily particularly important and always kind of duplicated in some way in something else. And nobody could really come up with one. And I'm broadly in agreement with that. Like they all feed into the bigger picture. So I think they're all essential, personally. What's my favourite PS2 game? I've never played a PS2 game. I'm really embarrassed to admit it, but I haven't. Command and Conquer, I played a lot, but not on PlayStation. I played it on a PC. I really, really like Command and Conquer. And it used to drive my my ex-husband mad because Kane's Wrath was my favourite. And I only ever wanted to play Kane's Wrath, and he tried to get me to play other games, and I was like, why would I play other games? I really like this game, which is like quite an autistic thing to do. But you know, what can I say? Command and Conquer was awesome. Yes, absolutely. And Red Alert was fucking brilliant. Like, absolutely magnificent. Would I add a card for a new archetype? Well, that was the other part of the study that I was just talking about there. Like, tarot readers were asked if there was something that wasn't covered that they would like to see, and nobody could come up with anything. And I've kind of mulled this over myself in the past, and I'm like, I posted something about this a little while ago. The 78 cards of the tarot can come together to create trillions of different storylines. Like, somebody fucking did the math. Like, I don't know who it was, but props to them. I'm sure there's a meme about it on my Instagram somewhere. Oh, fuck knows. It's here somewhere. But it's like, yeah, if you put together all the different combinations that it's possible to pull tarot cards out in, it actually runs into the trillions. So to that end, I don't think that you need any extra ones. Like, the full gamut of human experience can be covered by 78 cards with pictures on, and I think that's cool. I think that's really, really cool. If somebody wants to bother trawling through my Instagram to find it, you're very welcome. I'll find it later, but it's there. I might post it actually in the community tab when I do find it. What drove you to make this channel? I have no fucking idea. Is the honest answer. I have absolutely no idea. Like I said, my spirit guide kind of prompted me to buy the Llewellyn Tarot, and it was after that, doing the readings with that I was like, well, I'm just going to fucking start a YouTube channel. It's kind of nudged to do it, and I was like, right. And I did it kind of almost slightly grudgingly, but I reconciled my feelings about it by deciding that this was going to be my practice for reading for people. So yeah, that was why I did that. Yeah. And the other thing is, it's like, whilst I started it initially for practice, once I started getting feedback from people that it was actually helping them, like, I kind of realized that was the fucking point of me, and that actually a life of service is a cool thing, and that's what's driven me forwards hereafter, I guess. Yeah. Do I interpret dreams? I place a lot of store in dreams and dream interpretation. Interestingly, after I got my brain injury, I didn't dream for an entire year, and I think that was the thing that devastated me the most about everything, because I really, really missed it. I used to have really amazing, epic dreams that I would remember in like laser-like detail, and I didn't dream for an entire year. And I know I didn't dream. It wasn't that I just didn't remember it. I genuinely didn't dream. And then in 2018, I had one dream, and I couldn't remember it, but I knew it had happened, and I was absolutely delighted. And then 2019, when I signed up for the spiritual development course that I was talking about, that had the tarot thing in it. Once I started doing that course, I started dreaming, and now I know that I dream every night. I don't remember all my dreams, probably only about one a month, to be fair, but I know that they happen. I know I'm very busy in the dream state, whatever it is. I kind of get the feeling I'm kind of missioning about a little bit. I don't know what I'm doing because I can't remember, but I'm hoping that I will remember more soon, I think. Someone just say I sound like a therapist. Oh, I'm like a therapist. Yeah, kind of, a little bit. Although I relate too much to stuff to be a proper therapist. Apparently, you have to be quite detached and not ever bring your own personal experience into things. So I think I would probably suck as a therapist for that reason. So, Owl Lover 11, I have been asked that, and I got very upset because I said it was like trying to choose my favourite child. It's just not. It's just not going to happen. I've got decks that I absolutely adore and I'm mad about, and then I've got decks that I adore slightly less, but I still really, really love. And because each deck has different characteristics and it has a different personality, they deal with different. They come at things from different directions. So sometimes, one deck will be the one that I need, and other times I'll pick up a deck and I'll start shuffling, and then I'll be like, no, this is the wrong deck, and I have to put it down and pick up another one, because they all come at, even though they're all the same to a lesser or greater degree, got different pictures on, but the archetypes are all the same. The symbolism, which is the true tarot, it's not the pieces of paper and the card and stuff, it's the symbols and it's the association that your subconscious mind makes with things. That's the tarot. It's like coming at a problem from different perspectives. It's like actually just like brainstorming with a bunch of really, really smart people whose opinions you trust is kind of what like having loads of tarot decks has. It's the honest truth. Like, I think that's kind of the way I would see it. And sometimes if you were, wanting to get some really good ideas about gardening, you go to the person who's got some experience in gardening, and that would be a deck that has, a particular aptitude for coming up with answers in a, on a particular subject in this way, and so on and so forth. Let's have a look. And Janelle, your brain was healing, I'm sure. Yeah, I think so as well. It's still not there yet, but it's getting there. Legal readings. Eagle spirit. That's really interesting because I feel like going to university, doing my law degree and stuff like that, it changed the way that I think, and it changed the way that my brain worked. And that's very much the point of it. But I felt like it kind of separated me from my spiritual side for quite a long time. And so part of what I was doing when I was at the bottom of a really dark hole and all that kind of thing was kind of reprogramming my brain back to it. And so I love everything about the law. Like I really do. And I think I kind of would have been an excellent barrister, but it was not what I was supposed to do. So it's kind of not for me now, I think. Don't get me wrong. If I used to have a Scorpio friend who used to joke that I would be his legal counsel when he got himself into trouble. And to be fair, I probably would have been. And of course, it was a Scorpio. Equally, if I had a body to bury, he would have been the person that I would have contacted. So, good night, Star. It's been really, really nice to talk to you. Have sweet dreams. I hope you remember them. I am psychologically inclined. You're right. But it's just because I'm really interested in people and how their brain works and stuff like that. I read a lot of psychology books. I actually wanted to do it for A-level like a billion years ago until I found out that you had to do statistics. And then I was just like, oh my God, numbers. No, I can't do that. And I actually did law instead. And that took me off in a whole different direction. So, Joe Cossington, I'm embracing the 420, embracing. I'm gonna. It's illegal in this country. I'm just gonna leave it there. Yeah. Roger, where am I? I'm in the UK, in the northeast. I'm about an hour and a half, 2 hours south of Scotland, so quite high up in the north. What's the best piece of advice you've ever been given? Ooh. That's a really interesting question. And one that I don't think I can answer, honestly. Broadly, because I'm very good at giving advice and I'm really fucking awful at taking other people's advice. But that's usually because I've kind of thought about the situation from 67 different angles before I've even spoken to anybody else about it. But like the generic stuff, like let it go. Always let it go. Whatever it is, fucking let it go. Don't hold on to anything. Everything is transitory. Everything is fleeting. Enjoy it while it's there, but let it go. Bits and pieces here and there, but largely I brought myself up with books, and so everything that I kind of understood about the world for a very long time came from books. So a lot of the advice that I took was probably from stories that I read when I was very, very young. And like when I say stories that I read, like I was reading Dostoevsky at 10. Like, I kind of exhausted the children's section at the library and then moved on to other books pretty early. Every book that I've read has had an effect on me in some way and turned me into the person that I am now, and given me a particular worldview, I think. What's this, Angela? Some readers said that they were told to stop using tarot cards. Who told them that? Is that what told by their higher selves or what? I know. Give me some more information there. I don't think tarot cards pose a hidden danger to anything, particularly not when they're used in the way that I use them, which is to understand yourself better. Virginia, best advice was do not lie. Do you know what? Yeah, like that's really, really good advice. No, there's just fucking no point. Right? I think when people lie, it's because they're not taking responsibility for themselves. And I'm kind of direct to a fault. I don't lie about anything. But then I am overly keen on owning every single aspect of myself. So if I've done something that other people might feel like they would need to lie about to cover, like I'm all over that shit. Fucking, I did that thing. Yeah, I did that thing. So, ooh, Cameron. Hello, Cameron. Good to see you. Any great psychology books that you'd recommend for people who are also so inclined? No, I really like books about body language, right? I read a lot of books about body language when I was a kid. That's probably had a big effect on me as well, actually, because 70 or so percent of human communication is non-verbal, right? It's body language. If you can read body language, then you can often read people better than they understand themselves. And you certainly tell when people are fucking lying to you. I've got a bit of a nose for that. I'm really interested in books on the shadow, and that kind of falls under psychology, obviously, because it's young. Body language was the one. Like, that was the real one for me. Any book on body language and how to read people. Like, I just found that endlessly fascinating, because I don't tend to, in group situations, I don't tend to say a lot, but I tend to watch a lot. I observe, and I learn a lot more about what's going on, like dynamics and stuff, without listening to people's words. Plus, I'm gonna say it again, I'm as deaf as a post, so I miss stuff all the time. I don't hear things that people say to me all the time. And I rely on body language to work out what the fuck is going on quite a lot of the time. And there you go. Tiffany, you've done your errands, eaten lunch, went from the couch to laying in bed, all while watching me. That's awesome. Thank you so much for being with me. Where am I originally from? I'm actually from the Midlands, which is not Birmingham. I was born in Coventry, and I spent the majority of my formative years in a little village outside of Rugby. And then when I met my first husband, we had our son, we moved up to the Yorkshire Dales because that's where his family were from, and it was a much better place to live than where we were. So I don't really have an accent. It's a fairly non-accent. It's quite neutral. But if you hang around with me for long enough, I will end up slipping Yorkshireisms in because I lived there for like 15 years or something. So I've got a passable Yorkshire accent when I'm around Yorkshire people. But now I live just outside of Newcastle, which for those of you who are in the States is where all the Geordies come from, and they have a very, very pronounced accent, which is cool as fuck, and I love it. I really, really love it. And it's completely impenetrable until you spend quite a bit of time around the Geordies. I was saying to my best friend the other day that I actually understood nothing that he said for the first 6 months that I knew him because of his accent. But because I was English, I couldn't ask him to repeat himself more than twice. So I just ended up kind of nodding a lot at the things that he said. So yeah, my accent's it's fairly neutral. It's not really a thing. I don't sound like I'm from the Midlands. I don't sound like I'm from Yorkshire. I certainly don't sound like I'm from Newcastle. So let's have a look here. Read sign language, Evan Byler. I'd really like to learn sign language. I think that would be really, really cool. Like just after my twins were born, there was this kind of thing about teaching babies sign language, and I kind of wanted to do it, but also, you know, they didn't sleep ever, and my brain stopped functioning because I didn't get to sleep either. So for like the first 6 months of their life, I just got virtually no recollection of it at all because I was getting about 2 hours sleep a night for 6 months. They didn't start sleeping through in any kind of meaningful sense until they were 9 months old. And by through, I mean they slept till 4 o'clock in the morning. So I slept on the floor in their room in between their cots. It was a very difficult time. So Cassandra, they got scared of bad spirits and they quit with tarot reading. I'm not sure how I feel about that. Like, I don't know. I got an attachment last year, an energetic attachment, which a Reiki healer friend of mine had to pull out, and because it was a massive energy drain on me, and I was knackered. In fact, you can see it in the readings in sort of November and December. I look haggard as fuck, and that was why. But I've never had bad experiences with tarot cards because I feel like it's a connection to my higher self. It's a very personal thing, and there isn't really room for bad spirits to enter that connection. My interactions with other people, interestingly, are open to that. And I found it interesting, like since my friend scrubbed me proper with the Reiki, like scrubbed me clean, there are certain people that have literally just fallen out of my existence. So there's something in it, I think. I'm going to have to go to bed soon because it's like 12:15 and I can't believe I've been sat here talking to you all for hours. Natalia, do I ever watch my animals? Yeah, man. Yeah, I can totally communicate with all of my animals. Like, I posted a thing on Instagram about my cat having a massive personality transplant in the last couple of months. He's nearly 10 and he's just changed into a different animal. And he's got really insistent about sleeping on me. Sleeping on my heart chakra particularly. And I made some quip about, wirelessly charging the cat. And somebody pointed out to me that perhaps the cat was wirelessly charging me. And I was like, oh, maybe that's cool. But yeah, he follows me around and he talks to me, which he hasn't done in a decade. Just very insistently trying to communicate something to me. And I'm like, I don't understand. I don't speak cat. What's the problem? I don't know. But he's, there's kind of guardian aspect to him now. And then obviously there's Silas and he's just brilliant. And he knows what I'm thinking. He knows everything that I'm thinking all the time. He's cool as. The other kitten is, well, she's just squirrel. I think her mind is mostly made of potatoes or confetti or something like that. She's an entirely different animal, but my kids love her, so that's fine. No, she's lovely, but she's just not really got much between the ears, I think. Emma, you've got 9 cats. What the fuck? That's incredible. Have you become the crazy cat lady? I think that's my destiny at some point. Although I think I'll probably be a crazy dog lady, to be honest. I've got a dream, and my dream is to live in the woods. I want to live in the woods with a little clearing and a big fucking herd of dogs. What's the collective noun for a dog? For dogs? I cannot remember. Anyway. Yeah, once my kids have all left home, I shall probably be filling my house with all sorts of interesting animals instead, because like I dig animals in a big way, and like I've got quite a big interest in shamanism, which I haven't really explored yet, but animal messengers are massively important to me and they visit me a lot. So animals are they're shit. I love them. Damn straight, Emma. Who does need a man? Oh. My dream is to get my dog an alpaca. Do you know what? My dog would love an alpaca as well, but he loves anything. Like anything is just immediately inducted into the pack as soon as it comes into the house. He's the most caring dog ever. Right. I'm going to finish this tab and then I'm going to go to bed because it's been a long day already. Like the hour before I started this live stream, I was actually doing the very first gym online kickboxing class, which was mint, but it's the first proper exercise I've done in a month, so I'm absolutely fucked. I'm not even joking. G24 Ziggy, crows are extremely significant for me, as are ravens, and they comprise 2 of my major spirit animals, animal messengers. They come and hang out with me. I actually have a massive raven tattooed on my back. You probably don't know because you haven't, but that's one of its wings there. It fills my entire back and it comes down to about here. So yeah, big time. Oh, Cameron, what tips would I give budding tarot readers? The biggest issue that every tarot reader has is confidence. It's huge. It's that, and it's not helped by people immediately saying throw the fucking book away. Right, the book is there for a reason. The book has something interesting to offer, even if it's just a slightly different take on things. Like, read the book, learn all the meanings of the cards. Right, at that point, that's when you can throw the book away. Right, but it's getting your confidence up. And so if it's available to you, reading for other people will bring you on in leaps and bounds. Like, I studied the tarot, in my own way for years and years before I ever did a reading for anyone else. And it was almost like it took a very long time to get to this point here, right? This point where I would even consider for reading for someone else. The time that it took for me to be brave enough to read for someone else, and this fucking massive exponential leap in what I was able to do while I was reading, occurred in such a small space comparatively, that I couldn't have even credited it. So read for other people and don't worry about getting wrong, because I'm not saying like take money for it or not have someone asking you life or death questions or things that they're going to lose lots and lots of money on, but reading for other people will level you up very, very fast, and get feedback, right? Because learning what the cards mean is important, but then learning what the cards mean to you is more important, and that's what comes after. It's like learning any kind of discipline for anything. Like, you've got to learn the basics, you've got to get the foundation in, and then when you get to a certain level, like when you go to university, and like the people that do really well, and I found this immediately, the people that do really, really well at university are not the ones who recite by rote the things that they're taught, which is what you're taught in school, right? School is an exercise in fact retention, right? And being able to regurgitate it. By the time you get to university, like, they assume that everybody knows all that shit. They want your original thought on it, right? And those people who are brave enough to have an original thought that is slightly outside of the mainstream, or looking at it from a different perspective, that's where you score highly. And that's what I found when I went to university. And it's exactly the same for the tarot, right? You got to go kind of through the school process and learn what all the cards mean and all that. But once you get to a certain level, then you can start finding your way of reading the cards. And for me, like, I keep talking about this, like mapping your day onto the cards. Like, pull some cards in the morning, 3. I like 3s, do 3. And then see what you can map onto, the cards from what happened in the day, and come back to it at night and look at it, and you'll start to find themes and you'll start to find consistencies. But it's a process like everything else, and you kind of got to put the time into it to get there to that thing. And don't be afraid of getting it wrong. I think the biggest issue that you have as an adult learning something new is that we have this complete resistance to being a beginner about things. And it's one of the things that I say to the people at the gym when they start the kickboxing, because they're all like, oh, I can't do it in a rear. And you're like, you've just started, you've done 3 lessons. What did you expect to become Jackie Chan overnight? Like, don't be daft. This takes time and discipline and effort. You get out of it what you put in. But in the meantime, give yourself permission to be a beginner, right? I say it all the fucking time. Like, and bit by bit, people relax about it, and then actually they tend to improve faster when they're not giving themselves a hard time about it. And it's the same with everything. It's the same with anything that you want to learn, and it's the same for the tarot as well. Yeah, but reading for other people is a big deal. Let's have a look. We're getting closer to the end. First deck recommendations. Don't go too fancy, right? I like I said, I started with this, the standard Rider-Waite, right? It's a really good deck for beginners. It's a really good place to start because it's got all the symbolism in it, right? And you can go into phenomenal depth phenomenal depth with the cards, especially when you start looking up like the more historic kind of things. I've got a book by Marcus Katz and Tally Goodwin called Secrets of the Smith-Waite Tarot, and I got that last year, and I read it, and it completely cleared up a fucking mystery like that I'd always had with the Seven of Pentacles. Right, the Seven of Pentacles had always fucking bugged me because it seemed like the 7 and the 8 were the wrong way round. Because the 8 was about working really hard at something, right? And the 7 of Pentacles was this getting ready to harvest. And I was like, surely they should be the other way around. But then I read that book, and before the deck got recolorized and mass reprinted and stuff like that, I'm just looking for the card now and I'll show you. There are subtle details that are missing off it now that were in the original, and you can see it in the Centennial edition, I think, which I have yet to get my hands on. But in the original, this crop that this dude is stood next to here, right? It had brown coloration on the leaves, right? And he looked a lot sadder than he is there. I mean, he still looks pretty unhappy. But it was supposed to be a blighted harvest, right? It was like having put loads of effort into something and then finding that it's not actually going the way that you wanted to do, and taking a moment to invest or divest from this situation. And then the next step up, the 8 of Pentacles, was about working really hard on something to achieve mastery in it. So it's having taken that decision about what's going on here, and then either, pulling the bush out, whatever, and starting again, but with lessons learned from having fucked it up the first time, or thinking that it's worth continuing and then, building on that. Can't even remember why I was fucking telling you about that. Why was I telling you about that? Oh, yeah, right. So you can go into really, real profound depth with each of the cards. And as your studying, increases, so you will probably do that. Or you can read them in a lot more basic a fashion. And that's where you start anyway, with the basics. So I think most of the decks that I own, I've only probably the last year, and I pretty much tickled along with 2 or 3 decks before that, I think. Yeah. Yeah, but if you are particularly drawn to a particular deck, then don't ignore that. Like, if you've got a pull in a particular direction, then do it, because you're being pulled for a reason. But if you don't have a particular draw to any particular deck, then this is absolutely a fantastic place to start. If you could only pick one card, which one would represent your life so far? Oh. Up until 2019. I would have to say it would be the 3 of Swords, honestly. Yeah. Going back as far as I can remember, it would be the 3 of Swords. And then probably Strength after that. Yeah, 3 of Swords and Strength, because all of the suffering created a certain strength, and I know what that is. So yeah, I hope you snack on something before turning in. Like, probably not, to be fair. probably just go and fall into bed. Susie Cutie asked, how do you know if you're an empath? I didn't know until I got to the point where I could separate what was me and what was other people. And interestingly, I suffered from an absolute lack of boundaries for a very long time. That's something that I've only in the last couple of years learned how to erect. And in doing so, I've realized where other people's energies and other people's issues and other people's injuries were kind of impacting on me and making me feel like they were my things. Now I'm at the point where I know that that's not me. Like sometimes I can walk into a room and I'll sit down and I'll be like, fuck, who's got the fucking backache? Like, whose is that? Because it's fucking uncomfortable. And it'll be somebody in the room. Somebody's got fucking chronic backache. I know it's not mine because I'm physically very fit, but I also know what I feel like as opposed to what somebody else feels like. Meditation. Meditation, again, like I keep banging on about it, and it's really important because it's time where you get to know yourself. You get to know how you feel. You get to release, just for a short period of time, the other things that are affecting you. And then you can kind of see where you end and somebody else begins, and the other way around, I guess. How does one pull their energy back from someone they love but isn't good for them? With difficulty is the honest answer. It's not there's no shortcut to it, and there's no easy way of doing it, but it actually comes as a byproduct of developing a sense of your own self-worth, and that's something that's missing from most people. And for a long time I thought self-worth was self-indulgent, very Capricorn kind of opinion of it. Looking after myself I was always at the bottom of my priority list, and in time I've learned that I do have a value outside of what I give to other people. Knowing your worth is exceedingly important. Meditation. I'm like I at the gym, right? I'm renowned for just shrieking pivot all the time, right? Because people need to remember to pivot. I feel like know your worth is the thing that I am kind of shrieking at people on the internet. I'm not a particularly shrieky person, but like these are the things. If it feels self-indulgent to you to look after yourself, then there are issues there that require addressing. And I'm not saying like, you're fucked up or anything like that, but that's a flag right there. And I was not someone who looked after themselves for a very long time. So yeah, as your sense of self-worth increases, so your tolerance for bullshit decreases. And it is possible to love someone with every fucking fiber of your being without being with them, right? And without subjecting yourself to whatever it is that they're doing that isn't good for you. And it's possible to separate yourself off, but it does hurt. And I'm not even going to pretend that it doesn't, because it does. Well, you could block them, but I feel like that's kind of ignoring the whatever it is that got you into that position in the first place. Because I know there's been a lot of situations that I've been in with people where right now, if they came at me with the bullshit that I put up with for a very long time, I'd just be like, what the fuck is this? No, and just walk away. But at the time, there were things that I was struggling with that I didn't even realize that I was struggling with at the time, that made me kind of vulnerable to that kind of behavior, and just accepting it. because I did not know my own worth. Right? No, now I do know my own worth. I wouldn't fucking touch it with somebody else's barge pole. And at this point, that's not difficult for me because I have a sense of my own self-worth. It's when you don't that it becomes hard. Let's have a look. Oh, do I think the Taurians are going to get some lucky breaks this year? I don't think that's a question that I can answer with any authority. Actually, I think that you have a purpose, and I think that that can be a tremendously valuable thing. And I think that the work that you're doing on yourselves at the moment will change your perspective such that even if nothing around you immediately changes, the way that you will see it will change, and that can feel like a gift. So, yeah. L. Rob, did you speak on Scorched Earth? Are you wanting to know why I'm called Scorched Earth? Is that what? Was that what you meant by that? Right. Okay. So I'm glad you asked. You are the first person to have asked that. It works on lots and lots of levels, and that's why I love it. And that's why I got into an argument with someone in my comments section who told me I was an idiot and I should change my name. The first off, it's a nod to my natal chart makeup, right? So I'm a Leo sun, a Leo moon, and Capricorn rising. So it's fire, fire, earth, scorched earth, right? It's a thing. But there's another deeper meaning to it. It's a military strategy. Whether you've heard about it, right? So if you've got two armies that are fighting, right? If one retreats, it sets fire to all the things. It destroys all of the things that the encroaching army could use against them, right? So that they can't use them. Destroying their own shit so that if anybody comes in, they can't use it against them, right? And and it's called scorched earth policy, right? And I really, really like it because I feel like that's kind of what I'm doing it's what I did for me, and I'm hoping it's what I do for other people as well. It's removing those triggers, those old wounds, those tendencies towards self-sabotage and stuff that we do, so that other people can't use them against us and we can't use them against ourselves, right? That's kind of the meaning behind it. And I really, really liked the fact that it worked on a multitude of levels. Yeah. I'm planting shit. Right. Be swift, Sarah Beth, because I'm so ready for bed. I'm going really, really soon. And I don't think it's strange. I think it's the will of the universe, because my issues with Taurian energy ran very, very deep, and it wasn't something that I was able to get at, to really dig out myself. So I think we were kind of thrust together. So yeah. Oh, Sarah, I'm waiting for your question. Well, I'm going to go to bed really, really soon. So I'm starting to stiffen up, sat on this fucking tiny little stool that I'm perched on. What do I think of narcissistic Leo and Scorpio? In what way? Steve, short answer, yes, I do. I think things are falling. I think structures are falling, and I think the way that things have been done for a very long time is about to keel over. So yeah. Some people think he can change. I don't think narcissists can change, is the honest answer. I just don't. I think it takes a stunning level of self-awareness to change really fundamental parts of your character, and what goes into making a narcissist runs very, very deep. And almost by definition, they are so opposed to looking at the wounding within and taking responsibility for all that kind of thing that like they're just not capable, I don't think. And I've known a few narcissists, spent a bit of time around them, and I think that they get good at hiding the more overt aspects of their narcissism. But I think fundamentally it's such a core part of their character, and it's kind of created by their refusal to look at themselves, so they cast outward. Like it would take such a stunning event to make a narcissist take responsibility for themselves that I just don't think they can change. No. Blue Wisdom, you and me both. Like, I thought I'd be on here for an hour. Like, I didn't even know if anybody was going to turn up. Actually, fucking chat's just glitched. Yeah, Janelle, I agree. They never really love. They don't. Like, yeah. Oh. Terry, you're very welcome. And that was exactly, like, it was the human contact. It was a point of connection. That's what I was after. And some people understood it for what it was, and other people showed themselves as not wanting to be part of a community, but actually were just being here to get, readings for free. And yeah, like, I do that, and I'm driven to do that, but don't take the fucking piss. You know what I mean? Like, Emma, you come across a narcissist or two in your time as well, I take it. Joe, do you know what the thing is? That it's not that they love themselves, it's that they absolutely fucking despise themselves, and that's why they won't look. They despise themselves so hard that they create this mechanism for dealing with the outside world, because if they didn't, they'd literally fucking implode, I think. Tiffany, I'm glad of that as well, because I have, and it's not fun. It's really not fun. I'm well fucking over that though. I can spot them a mile away now, but also I don't resonate at a frequency that kind of attracts them in anymore, because they can tell from 50 paces away that I won't take this shit anymore. Can soulmates that are apart ever come together? Yeah, of course they can. Absolutely. Sarah, yeah, they do feed off their addiction to anger. What's it called? Narcissistic supply. They need it. Absolutely need it. Oh, Rob. My favorite book is Crime and Punishment by Dostoevsky. But it's been my favorite book since I was about 12. I think I've read lots and lots of books that were as good, but that one's got a special place in my heart as my favorite. Yeah, me too, Emma. Me too. Is it your birthday, Oliver? That's cool as shit. Yeah, Christine, I would absolutely agree. Like it's kind of part of the definition of a narcissist is that they just cannot do it. Oh, bless you, Natalia. That's really, really, really sweet to say. Oh, Kim, you're off. Bye. Right. I am going to draw this to a close, and I'm calling it a tremendous fucking success because I've really, really enjoyed it, and I can't believe I spent nearly 4 hours sat here. It hasn't felt like it at all. Kind of wish I could get you all in a room so I could talk to you properly. But this is a pretty damn good. Yeah, I know, right? And it was my favorite book before I had any notions of becoming a lawyer at all. You're very welcome. Like, I'll definitely do this again at some point. I might pick a comfier chair to sit in, for sure, and maybe more coffee than I had. I intend to have positive dreams, Scott. Thank you very much. Whether I remember them or not is entirely a different fucking matter, but I shall do my best at least. Thank you all. Like, I just can't believe you all showed up. Like, I'm actually really, really touched. It's amazing. So, yeah. Wow. Fucking 4 hours. Right. Read you another book soon. Apparently, I'm setting up another channel to read books. So, like, keep an eye out for that. I'll let you know. And we'll read like fucking Sherlock Holmes or something. Yeah, something really class. Right. Good night. I love you all. And I will see you all very, very soon. All right. Take care.